You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line.
Do not forget. Expect us.
This is a message to all supporters. A message to all freedom fighters, to all dissenters, to all forgotten. A call to all intellectuals, to all journalists. A call to all freethinkers. A call for intelligence. This is a call to all poets. A call to the strong and the weak. A call to all young people. To the wise, to the astucious. We want you to join us. We are on the streets of Tokyo. In the skyscrapers of New York. In the lanes of Paris. In the cellars of Munich. On Moscow's icy places. On the cobbled streets of Dublin. This is a call to all people. To the youth. Join us in the fight for freedom of information. Search for us, and you will find us. We are among you. We are you. Everyone you speak with can be a member of Anonymous. We have no leaders, only an orientation. We have no targets, only results. You cannot stop us, because we are an idea. We cannot be eliminated, because we are invisible. If you try to mock us, we will mock ourselves. If you try to slander us, we will accept the defamation. We are the king's gestures with daggers. We are the dancing bear which tears to pieces the laughing mob. We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us, just as we expect you.
of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
Kurt.
And we are live. Welcome to Anonymous Bites Back episode 172. My bad. I am trying to. We won't be on Mixer tonight. That's my fault. Some back end stuff I really don't have time to figure out. It seems to be the old kick it and it'll work, but I really don't feel like figuring out somebody's engineering mess. So today, we do have some pertinent things to talk about. I know many Anons are doing the fuck you, OpQ, ops right now. We did have an insider today go to the 8chan congressional hearing in DC. So we did have an insider go in there. There wasn't so I don't know if anybody knows really what's going on as far as our listeners, but 8chan, the owner of 8chan, Jim Watkins, was had to go in front of Congress today for a congressional hearing for the shooters that have been posting to 8chan. Prior to they had posted that they were going to shoot some people yada 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 on 8chan before they had actually done it. So he appeared today in front of Congress. I don't believe that this is the last of the questioning, according to his son Ron Watkins. But we are on our channel. We are getting more insight into the technical details. And why am I not uploading? All right, we have some networking. Can you guys hear me? Hear me?
Fine.
All right, seems like we are having some major
super popular. I'm gonna check the pages, man.
Somebody did something to our stream, and I don't know what it is on the back end. It's almost like my back-end server moved on its own, which is really weird. But yeah, so it's leading more towards our understanding that there's a high possibility that Ron Watkins, aka Code Monkey Z, Jim Watkins' son, who is the owner of 8chan, had access to Q's back-end encryption keys, which is not really weird because he's an admin, but at the same time, he probably has been posting from Q's account as well. That's hearsay, but my intuition is telling me he probably was. I don't know if anybody disagrees with me here.
As Hot Wheels explained it, I can call him Hot Wheels. He said the people with access to the server have like one part of the encryption, and then the Q guys like the other part. And then Code Monkeys would be that server guy who has like one part. It's possible that he was involved directly with posting. I can't confirm it. I don't know, but I can agree with a theory, at least.
I do, because with keys, there's always a public and a private, key. I'm assuming that Code Monkey Z might have actually had the private key.
Well, when you look at how Google and Facebook and social media, Twitter as well, had been used during the election to support the left. And those are big, giant corporations, companies, the same as 8chan.
Hi,
I think
welcome
the
to
natural
Mixer.
response is for something similar to happen on the right, and I think that may have been where why these people are so connected, and it is just the natural response to somebody trying to push neoliberal policies, ideas, and content on the internet, and boosting that above others, right? Not being just an open forum, but boosting it above others and suppressing. I think that groups like QAnon and being connected with 8chan, him being part of it, I think that's a completely natural, response to what was going on in the left, is going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff, that I've been noticing, because I've been learning more and more about Jim Watkins this week than I have in all of my stuff combined. I really should have been paying more attention to the admin owners than who the fuck is Q. This guy's a shisty little fuck. To be honest with you, how he acquired 8chan and how he kind of stole it over somebody not paying the bill.
Yeah, that's the whole story with the two channel network, right? In Japan, and the original owners. It's created by Japanese guys, and they didn't pay the bill, or so to speak, or they didn't pay enough, and he took the domain and all the stuff, and the original owners were like raging about that, and they used like they spidered the whole site, and they created their own new two channel, and they kind of like ripped all the content on it. They were so angry because of it. It's kind of like a scandal surrounding Jim Watkins in the past. Just for our listeners, I know many QAnons are listening. I mean, this has very little to do with QAnon itself, I guess. I mean, this is just about like that Jim Watkins is not a friendly guy at all. I mean, there's a kind of like a history on that. He's not supposed to be a friendly guy either, I guess. But I mean, he doesn't have a clean sheet. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, he's definitely not an honorable person. We are trying to get out some information. So I mean, what intel did we get, from the the hearing today?
Yeah, this wasn't. Let me go through the chat logs. I'm not going to reveal our sources' information, but let me see. What did he say? Q was only briefly mentioned along with several other hate groups. Mostly what he kept on saying was the freedom of speech and press mantra. Let me see. He's also said that 8chan owner will continue to report potential threats to Homeland Security, and now 8chan owner Jim Watkins will work hand in hand with Homeland Security. He also says that he's going to sue Cloudflare, but Cloudflare lawyer says, let me see, Cloudflare had a lawyer there. They said that they would protect them again. I'm kind of weirded out about that too, because usually they don't want anything to do with people that are affiliated with Nazi groups. It's bad press for your stocks.
He was pretty clear, at least in his testimony. It sounded, almost supportive of.
Yes, it is looking more towards the Department of Homeland Security was supportive of what Jim Watkins had said in front of Congress. This is the weird part, is because this wasn't it wasn't streamed on TV. There was only a few reporters that were there. And I hate to say this, but 8chan really has been a safe haven online for a lot of weird illegal activity. And I'm not saying that there's not a place and a niche for it, but this is blatantly obvious and in the open on the ClearNet. Some place that you know what I mean. It's like a little nest egg of a whole bunch of weird fucking shit. There's basically a CIA treasure trove of who's who and who's doing wrong. You know what I mean?
Which why that's where we start getting into to issues, right? Because as you guys know, I prefer my Nazi violent hate groups where I can see them, right? So I can point them out and say, look, there's a bad fucking guy, right? But what we're doing here is they don't disappear because they have nowhere to post. You hear what I'm saying?
No, they won't. 8chaners will not disappear. They'll just move on to a different platform. Yeah.
I like to post and say, look at this guy. This is him. That's where he works. All of that. Now they're not gone. They're underground. They're saying the same. Like, you know what I'm saying? I can't find the fucking hate groups, and that bothers me.
Yeah, no, and I agree with that too. And I also I want to play advocate for the devil for a second. That HN, yeah, there is a lot of dirt on it, and there are a lot of dirty people on it, but they did offer kind of like a free speech platform, and that part should be embraced, I think. But
I think there's like
yeah,
a false that free speech is somehow clean,
No,
right?
it
That
never is. It never is. But there's a difference between free speech and guys posting on an imaging board saying that they're going to kill a whole bunch of people and then not being responsible for contacting whoever they need to contact.
exactly how it
yeah.
warns somebody is planning on doing something. You can act. You wouldn't even know. You'd know it when it hit. Like even as the excuse, hey, there were people on there posting about their next shooting. Okay, good. Now we know who's. You know what I mean? Now we at least got somewhere to look.
Yeah, they're still doing Facebook Lives and all. I mean, you're not going to stop. I mean, you might stop a stream once it's going, but I don't think you're going to stop many of them before everything gets done.
No, and they've put like a delay. So we've noticed even they've put a delay if you on your Facebook stream if you're live streaming.
Yeah, it's
And if
about
you
45-second delay. Yeah.
and if you start mentioning things or start mentioning certain trigger words, you'll notice your tablet or whatever you're recording on will start recording that message. So it does, or that live stream. So it doesn't like stop you. You don't notice that it stops streaming. It doesn't shut you down. But the people that are watching just get a blank screen till it figures out whether you're exactly what you're saying. But no, I think it's a dangerous road. The people that are involved in this, the people, you're looking who's trying to crack down on this all of a sudden. Well, the federal government. Well, are you hunting down Nazi violent hate groups? No, we're just making sure they can't talk on social media. It looks like you're just using fear tactics as an excuse to take away people's free speech. Because it's not like if they cleared off all the Nazis tomorrow, they're going to stop there. They never do.
Oh, but you know what's weird is that instead of a public shaming, this turned into a. They posted that they were happy with basically what Jim had said.
Well, I think they pretty obvious. The reason, I mean, they're willing to work with the government, right? You're willing to work with fascists, so I mean, you get a high five and everything's cool. He could have went in there and not worked with fascists, and it would have been a different story. But as long as he played along, gave them whatever access they needed to have, right? Give up any rights that they needed that they ask you to give up, then you're all good.
So that part is also what he kind of like offered. Is like what I'm reading from the chat. Pretty much what our guy says is that he pretty much offered them to become like a honeypot for them, so to speak.
Yeah, which is I mean, my thing is that free speech needs to be free, even if they're not saying things that you like. And even more than that, in the age of social media, I like having the ability to actually put a face to the hate speech. It's not just a catchy slogan. When you see the people that are pushing this, when you're able to expose them, you want to have free speech to make that happen. Once you start, and my fear is that if you allow them to take away anybody's free speech, they will next take away your free speech. They always do. Like every time you ask them to give up a right, they never stop with the fear tactic that they're pushing. It's the terrorist, it's the communist, it's the gays, it's the civil rights groups, right? And each time they say, okay, we're going to take away these rights to get a hold of these bad peoples, right? And then as soon as they're done, they take away your right. And you gave them the ability to do it. Like cases when they took down, you know what I mean? Like I said, the Alex Jones thing was like a perfect example, right? Everybody's cheering, fuck you, Alex Jones, man. Alex Jones can come out and say all the stupid shit that he wants. But did they stop with Alex Jones?
No, they deplatformed him everywhere.
Oh, yeah, and look at all of the people on the progressive left that they went after right after, immediately after that.
Yeah, for Tulsi, for example, they went after her on Google. They blocked like ad campaigns and stuff.
Yeah, and we gave them. That's the deal. Like any time that you give them the ability to take away a right, and they always need more, right? We've been doing this for 700 years. They always need one more right. If you just give up this one more right, you'll be safe. That's the story every time. If you just give up this one more civil right, you'll be fine. It'll be safe. We promise. We won't need any more. I don't buy it. Like,
So I read the opening statement from Jim Watkins, and he says hate speech is protected speech under the First Amendment in the U.S. and he cited Supreme Court rulings over that, and
they had hate speech.
yeah.
Yeah, but he's still subject to SISTA and FOSTA laws, which means that which means that if a shooter posted that he's going to shoot up a church, which he said was deleted off of his database by the shooter, which is, I'm not sure if Jim Watkins, if you're listening, I don't give a fuck. I'm a fucking pretty informed IT/hacker guy, right? You can, on an SQL database, you can delete entries via, an SQL entry. So showing me a database that the Christ shooter had deleted that entry manually doesn't tell me shit. Even if it happened on the same day, you could have deleted it on your end.
Yeah, look, typed it into the internet. Pretty much, if you've typed it and has enter in your computer, we can get a hold of it. So to tell me, it's lost in the digital world and you can't get, I don't buy that. No way. But that is exactly my point. Yes, like hate speech is protected underneath the First Amendment. If you post on there that you're going to shoot up a place, they come and arrest you, regardless of the First Amendment. If you post on there that you're going to be violent, they come and arrest you with terroristic threats and threats of violence and assaults and all of that shit.
But what I'm saying is I'm punching a lot of holes in what Jim had said today, and even though Jim and the HM people are saying that it's okay, everybody gave me high fives, there's still a criminality aspect onto this, and now we have an entry that was deleted supposedly by the user, which nobody can verify because we don't have access to that server, right? And he's also subject to SISTA and FOSTA laws, and you know what? This is it's very fucking easy to put an algorithm, right? That if you say certain keywords like I'm going to shoot X, Y, and Z, it's pretty fucking simple. You can do it with Python, right? And
with the app that they're using now, if I type in anywhere that I'm going for the next 6 months, I get travel and flight. If I go shopping on another network, I get all sorts of ads and all of this. They've got algorithms to take key on all sorts of trigger words.
Yeah, I mean, he could have had something that could have emailed or even texted an admin, with email to text function. So I mean, it could have been done. It could have been ahead of time. Jim and his site had absolutely no intention of monitoring anybody ever did. In fact, if this never happened to this point, it would have kept on going. It was HM was a shit fest. I'm sorry.
But hold on a second. So this is where I start getting into a problem, right? Because we have the biggest alphabet soup, agencies on the planet. The NSA is massive. Rather than listening to everybody, to innocent citizens' jobs, they have all of the resources they need to fight violent terrorists if they would actually like to fight violent terrorists. All of a sudden, you should have been. No, it is your job to be watching that. Don't worry about what my grandmother is sending in her Facebook messaging. Right? Don't worry about what water protectors and activists and people standing up against immigration are doing. Start focusing in on some really actual bad fucking people.
Well,
it's not like don't have the resources to do that.
It bothers me that Jim says he'll be working with the Department of Homeland Security, and I know admins, from gamer sites and some of these like mobile games and games that are online. They get calls all the time, or they constantly are reporting to law enforcement agencies. Like, I'm not saying that's right, because there's questionable content. Like when kids say they'll say fucked up shit in chats. Like there's people monitoring game fucking platforms. I just don't understand why it took months for them to figure this out, that like, oh, maybe some of our users really are killing people.
Well, no, okay.
They're posting that they're going to kill people.
Yeah, there has to be a balance made, and we can't act in knee-jerk fear. When it comes, why is there solutions to everything is that I have to give up my rights, right? And I do get really up, look, even in this thing, the number one person, their goal was to take off Nazi and racist hate speech. The number one group of people that were affected, right, were civil rights activists. They took down all of our content.
Yeah, no, I think we have to make clear that it is not about censoring any speech.
No, it's not about censoring.
It's just
there's a
that
difference
part.
between free speech and posting on an image board that you're going to shoot up a whole bunch of people, which is already a misdemeanor by saying that.
Free speech.
See, that's the part. That's the part.
You went outside and said you were going to shoot up a bunch of people. The fact that you posted somewhere that you were shooting up against a bunch of people, I don't have to give up any rights for you to do something about it.
No. It's already the second you write that online, it's already a misdemeanor.
I agree that. The same way if I walk down the street and say it. The
Yep.
same way as if you're in your house and you say it and the other person you're saying to it doesn't take it as a fucking joke. That's illegal no matter what, with or without my First Amendment.
Yeah. Yeah,
So Tyler, you mentioned the Fosta Sesta thing, and that is what that's the kind of like the ironic elephant in the living room, because I know that many QAnons are listening, but it's actually Donald Trump who introduced Fosta Sesta, and that law makes website owners responsible for all the content users post.
Yeah,
so they know that. It's just, Donald Trump
giving yourself the high five that you're going to be working with Department of Homeland Security means absolutely nothing to me, because you're still guilty of having a guy posting to your site that
someone else's content. They're no longer responsible for themselves.
But they are.
Yeah,
legally.
Yeah. My thing is, there's a reason why the First Amendment is the First Amendment, right? It's that important.
Yeah.
So I do start getting stressed out anytime they start. In my you guys don't have enough resources yet.
Yeah, but his whole free speech song and dance doesn't apply when people are saying on his platform, "I'm going to shoot blah blah blah." If you say that, you've already gone from free speech, which is protected. It's not hate speech. It's a felon. It's a misdemeanor, or depending on who the target is that you put after the X, Y, and Z, it could be a felony.
Oh yeah, that's 100% true. But I mean,
and I'm not going to even go any further past describing that, because then we would get censored off the internet.
Yeah, you're allowed to say whatever you want. Stupid shit as well. Stuff that's going to get you put in prison for threatening to murder people.
Yeah.
I don't have to give up any rights to do that.
No, you give up your rights when you say stuff like that.
Yeah, 100%. You threaten to murder a bunch of people? Fuck yeah, dude, they're coming for you. But
yeah.
I think that all the resources that they could possibly need to do that.
From what I hear, this is not the end of the questioning. I think that people, the whole 8chan, the way this is being presented as though it's over, it really isn't.
Now I know. Are we gonna be able to get on the inside again for this hearing? Or are they gonna?
No, our guy's gonna fly out of the country, so I don't think that he'll be there for the second part.
Oh, we'll get in. There's the cleaning lady that will record it for us right now. You guys are at the top. We're at the bottom. Trust me.
I do think Terrence is actually right about that. They will that if it goes wrong for 8chan, then probably Jim Watkins will ask for a citizenship in another country, and they will go live from there.
Yeah, he's not even living in the United States. He has a house in the Philippines.
I'm not sure if he's a U.S. citizen. If he wasn't a U.S. citizen, I'm not sure why he even shows up. I mean, he doesn't have to.
Well, because of how our taxes work, a lot of people, they're not U.S. citizens, but then they're businesses, and they'll have a
I think he is an 8chan. I think he is a U.S. citizen living abroad. Hold on.
It's an interesting question, but yeah, I mean, a lot of corporations and a lot of businessmen play all sorts of games where they're headquartered technically in the States, meaning they've got a box here. So they get, taxes and benefits and all that stuff, but then themselves aren't actually citizens.
I know he isn't really tied into Silicon Valley. He does have some connections in Silicon Valley. I mean, especially with the Two Cows, for example. They're huge. They're like the third largest domain provider in the world. They own the largest domain.
Well, and I know we do have we do have quite a few QAnons that listen, and for thanks for listening as well. But I'd love to hear, at least in the comments, how you guys feel about the hearings, about how 8chan's being treated, about what you think of the platform. I don't know if any of them are actually listening at this moment, but if you are, those are some things I'd love to hear from your perspective. Being that it is you guys' main platform. I know a lot of the QAnons have been kicked off of Twitter and fuck, I'm not even sure if there's any QAnon groups left on Facebook.
Well, what I do know is 8chan is not their biggest site. 2channel is a lot bigger and a lot older. It's actually the oldest Chan site in the world. It's older than 4chan. This is a site from the 90s, and I know Cloudflare still protects that site too. And they also own a cryptocurrency, pretty popular already. So they are still live on 2chan. That is the 5ch.net. They are still there, but it is unrelated to any Q stuff or any.
Yeah. Well, this was specifically with Q, because this is kind of involved with them. And my perspective, I've always thought that when the Q is a Breitbart op, which was the reason for the Angel of Death leaving leaving the White House, was to do this psyop. But I've never found any actual any hardcore proof of that. And there may be more than one thing going on in its uses. For getting people to not look up, are vast, undeniable.
Like I'm personally like a little divided about this. Like I don't like the fact that it's taken down, but I think it should be.
What's going on? I lost connection altogether. Hello?
I think,
You're here.
Hey. Yeah. I lost my, I don't know, I lost you guys for about 2 seconds.
We've got I know I don't.
I didn't hear a blink, nothing.
Yeah.
We've got a few special listeners tonight. I don't understand what we what we said specifically, but yeah, twice as many as we normally do.
It's almost like, you know what it is? It's not a server change. It's almost like somebody, because like right now I'm on a cable connection. It's almost like, because on a cable connection, it all goes on the same wire. It's almost as though somebody's using up all the wire, all the bandwidth on the wire.
Oh, come on, Jerry. Don't be like that.
Now, how's that possible with your super mega 1 gigabyte flash access internet?
I'm not on 1 gigabyte connection. I'm on a 100 megabit connection.
Well,
I'll be moving in a few weeks.
Yeah,
I'll be moving in like a week. I'll have a 300 megabit connection, but yeah, I don't have any gigabit connection.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Don't say these things. Don't say these things.
Oh yeah.
Like it might be on your connection.
Once again, we are job creators. Just by saying that, we probably created 3-4 jobs.
We just need to read the keyword dictionary. I mean, if it's all about flagging, let's see how many words we can flag and what it really takes to get shut down. I mean, should we go there?
It's actually getting pretty bad. And I was discussing it with John, the other Mark the other day. Is when we upload to YouTube, it used to take like a 2 gigabyte file. It really doesn't take more than 45 minutes to upload. Even at 10 megabits up. But now the processing takes anywhere from a couple of hours all the way up to 4, because they're scanning for keywords, hate speech, and content that isn't allowed. So what is a normal file? It's now going through this an AI bot is literally going through all of the video and scanning either it's cross-referencing for copyright stuff, and it's also looking for stuff that isn't allowed. It's getting so ridiculous on some platforms. It's like, why? Do you know what I mean?
Well, eventually they're going to find out about all of the secret information that we hide in between the frames.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, on the slave net, we only want you to hear certain things. That's where it's going.
Well,
if it isn't obvious by now,
for the guys that are doing code breaking and stuff, I mean, the key to what we do on here is that it's every couple of words, and then sometimes the first letter in the words, and then if you find the pattern from that, you'll actually be able to tell the real information that we're putting out. It's super time consuming on our end to do, but we figured it'd be a little bit extra fun for the code breakers.
Yeah. Some of the words we say are actually creating like a story together, but you have to find out which words they are. Just list them all in a
Trust the
list
plan,
and-
bro. Trust the plan. We got the Q code right here. Alpha, Charlie, Lima Bean. There you go. That's it. That's the Q code right there.
I know we give the Q guys quite a bit of shit, but come on, follow the plan. Follow the plan.
You know, in psychology, they have this question for delusions of grandeur / schizophrenia on a mental exam, and it reminds me of these people that see the Q code right as a code, and they fall into this weird category. Like we ask them, when you're watching TV, do you think the TV is talking to you? If you answer yes, you answer this other question that says, when you look at things, do you see as though there's a pattern, a pattern that shouldn't be there, and is it speaking to you? If you answer yes, that's where these people come into. They're seeing patterns in things that aren't there. It's like the Fibonacci sequence. It's like that movie Pi. Remember Pi with the guy who was trying to find out the name of God in the number pi, but then it turned out to be this like weird conspiracy thing, with the rabbis. That's what this whole fucking Q code reminds me of. It's just a bunch of fucking nonsense,
The Bible code in the 80s was another big one when we
That's flawed. That's actually very, very, very flawed. And so much so because the writings from the original authors have been changed so much to the point where even though Latin is alphanumeric, you still wouldn't get the proper translations to, you know what I mean? It's like putting everything into it. Yeah, go ahead.
No, it's been retold so many times like that code wouldn't, in reality
It wouldn't
work.
stand up, yeah.
I know
I think it was also tested. I think it was also tested on like Moby Dick, and it gave like the same result.
Yeah, exactly.
Same answers if you were, when you put it into the cubic or the code, when you put it into the computer, you would come out with about the same, lines as you did if you used the Bible code or Moby Dick. So maybe the real code is in the use of language.
Well, it has. There is some truth to the numerical meanings of the Hebrew alphabet, because when you add up certain letters, they can add up to make a different letter, which means something completely different. I think like Adam and the tree equals I forget what, my Hebrew's pretty bad. I don't know. All I know is that it means something that references to Genesis as far as regarding the garden. So, was that done intentionally? Yes, it was. But I'm just saying that when you start putting like religious text into a grid pattern and then seeing if you can find patterns, like you're just asking for going out in left field. You know what I mean?
Math runs the world. So if you look for patterns,
but but the data set is flawed though. That's the thing.
Yeah. But you can connect numbers, in lines anywhere using math. That's the great thing about math. So I mean, sometimes these codes can be extremely misguided. But to come back to that, you know, the I understand in some senses the Q's frustration in our government, but at the same note, the whole follow the leader without question, like you guys know that is completely wrong, right?
I'm pretty sure we pissed somebody off tonight.
It pissed you off, you know, that wasn't the thing. In fact, I was inviting you to come in and check it out a little bit. Like really, I want to know what you guys feel about the censorship, how you guys are feeling it on your side. To be honest, like I said, I think, you know, a lot of what you're saying is complete and utter bullshit, but you still have the right to say it.
Yeah.
Well, I personally love a boot on my face. I don't know about you guys.
It just makes my day.
We can give a disclaimer, like before they are saying like we are like a lefty LARPs or whatever, and we're like bashing Q because we're like lefties and stuff. Like as Anonymous, we don't take any sides, so we're not like on the left or on the right. As like we just give our own opinion. We are separate from everything, and we just say what we think of everything. And you can either listen to it or you don't. But we're just being fair.
It's my opinion, right? Like, fuck off. Everybody has one, right?
Yeah, but I'm a right winger bashing Q, so that settles that. I mean, Q's a bunch of shit. You know?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. There are too many holes within this conspiracy theory. That's all I'm saying.
Why would you follow that when you could follow any story and all the other information that's out there that's believable and citations and all the rest of it? To believe, you know, a puzzle and a little birdseed trail. I don't get it.
I think our last great puzzle happened on 4chan with cicadas. Yeah, that was the last great puzzle ever.
I just feel bad about the polarization thing. Like I was always like, people only see like two sides. It's either like one side or the other, but you can also take like another side. There are like a billion possible sides you can take. You can actually just be yourself and just objective.
You can pick a left or right side, or you can think for yourself. I think I prefer to think for myself. Even if I did believe that we should have to follow the plan, you're gonna need to tell me the plan, right? Like the blind following is where I draw the line. I mean, you could, you know, if you saw the information and you made, you know, your decision to support or not support, that's totally up to you. But the blind following, that doesn't work for me.
Well, I mean, you know, follow the plan. Well, what is the plan? They never tell you what the plan is. They tell you the plan is good, all this gibberish and pie in the sky. But you know, what is the plan?
They don't know.
Right now, the plan looks like it sucks. Yeah.
It looks like the plan was vulnerable.
They don't know what the fucking plan. I mean, like, obviously.
Oh, you mean the plan to fuck us over? Okay, I mean, I see that plan. Yeah, I mean, that one's pretty obvious. You know, but what's this other plan you're talking about?
They don't know.
Is there one? I mean,
I don't think so.
Or I suspect it's just all a bunch of crap, just like the rest of it.
It's a huge plan. People are already talking about it. It's the best plan they've ever heard.
But if I talk to you in an NPR voice, Tyler, and tell you everything's okay, everything's going to be okay.
The NPR voice is that's the equivalent. The NPR voice is the equivalent. It's like the left's QAnon voice. Everything's going to be fine. Later on tonight, Celtic Session. I like how they'll go wildly from one to the other. The Amazon is ablaze as indigenous groups run to safety. Plenty of immigrants and refugees are desperately heading north. And now back to Celtic Sensation on NPR.
Thank you for that, Terrence.
Oh, I gotta.
So
we do get a lot of Q's sharing this show, by the way. Just saying, they are actually listening, and so far no negative comments at all. So
yeah. like, look, I don't. My thing is, I wholeheartedly disagree with you. But when it comes to what we were originally talking about and your rights to your free speech right to post whatever you want, I 100% agree with that. And I think that we should all, like I said, they will 100% put out in front the scary whatever that they're trying to steal your rights with. In this case, it's Nazis. Man, I fucking hate Nazis. Right, I think that we should make a concerted effort to smash them at every feasible turn. But part of that is that they feel the need that they can speak out, right? So we know where they are, right? I would like them to go and post their racist bullshit so that I can expose it. Right, the response to most racist posts is normally you losing your fucking job, right? Like. The next thing, and I said even in here where everybody was very happy with all of the right wingers that they took down, but the truth of that matter is that the majority of information that they took down was by civil rights activists posting about police brutality, about racism, about systemic racism, right? Those are the things that they actually took down, but they hid it under the fear of Nazis, the people that those activists are trying to fight. So yeah. I'm always very wary when somebody's threatening to take down their rights, especially if they don't agree with them, because I know they're using that against me, right? The reason I'm seeing it is because I don't agree with them.
Well, they use it again. They will use it against everyone, of course, because the rights and the limitations will be for everyone. So that will be left to the right.
Even in the QAnon community, right? Go and find I'm quoting, progressive news agencies that's posting any sort of truth about the Clinton, right? About the Democrats. Like, at the end of the day, there's a lot of information that's on there that ain't wrong. The Clintons are corrupt as fuck.
Yeah.
I think that's well known by now. And
well known on the right, but we get distracted. I can't have a conversation because you're telling me I need to follow the plan. That causes the problem. But at the end of the day, there's plenty of information that the left is trying to, and I mean the neoliberal left, the corrupt left, is trying to suppress, and a lot of that has to do with the people that they're trying to put in front of you. Wiseman Schultz is still a corrupt politician and should be in jail.
Yeah, so I think the real issue, I said it before, that the real issue is not left and right. The real issue is the authoritarian people and the libertarian people. The people who want more authority, more restrictions, and the people who want more freedom. And they are existing on both sides. You have the more authoritarian left and you have the authoritarian right. You have obviously corrupt Clinton campaign, but you also have the Trump campaign that's also corrupt. Of course, they are.
It's all corruption from top to bottom. There's like 5 people in government that aren't corrupt. And I mean, does Jesse Ventura actually hold a position still?
In the Republican Party?
Don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think so. He's always down in Baja, Mexico. He's given up on the U.S. Looks like.
Yeah, I'm going to take that number back down to 3. Yeah, if Jesse's not in any actual office anymore, then I don't think that counts.
He's teamed up with Larry King. I forget that. Oh man, what are the media that they came up with, or that Larry King was doing on the side? He's kind of working for them. I forget the name of it though.
Is it Young Turks?
No.
For them, Democracy Now.
No, those are the official allowed Democrat talking point sites. They've got God mode. They can do whatever they want.
Yeah, well, I mean, TYT. Come on, guys, you're killing me here.
Did we get kicked out at TYT? That's.
I didn't get kicked out. I never worked for TYT.
No, but I mean, when visiting them, we were kicked out or something like it.
Yeah, I did get kicked out, but not for.
I was gonna say, who hasn't been kicked out? Remember, what's his name?
Roger Stone, Alex
Frogs.
Jones.
Yeah, Alex Jones got kicked out of there too.
We got roused by the cops at the TYT rally, and then we did get it was bogus, man. Completely bogus. And Anna and some other ones have kind of used the Anon name and kind of been randomly supportive. Nah, man, let the fucking cops try to pull their gun on me and everything. It's messed up. And like Invisible Joe, right, is 6'4", he's white, a Marine, right? I'm standing there minding my own business, right? And the cop puts his gun on his hand, fucking, you know what I mean? The works. Joe like walks right up to him, like, what the fuck is going on here, right? Nothing. Like, seriously, guys, this is supposed to be TYT. And I think they use they did say, oh, well, that, it was the local PD, it wasn't really ours or whatever. And I don't think that's a real good excuse. Somebody fucking starts rousing, like actual journalists at my rallies, I'm going to be pissed. But not them. And the fucked up part was, right, they were in there chanting, like, an end to, I think, gun violence as this cop was trying to fucking shoot me. How cool was that?
Oh, God.
Like, I brushed it off. You know what I mean? Like, whatever, guys. They didn't love me anyway, so I'm not worried about it.
That's the Democrats. They love you.
Oh, speaking of Second Amendment rights, I saw this happening today. This is something that's been trending. So a lot of 2A proponents, are doing the open carry to exercise their Second Amendment right. But now retailers, the major ones, are not allowing people to walk into their stores with open carry.
Yeah, which is, Wyatt Earp had the same thing. I'm not saying that you can't carry guns. I'm not saying you can't carry guns on you. I'm saying you can't carry guns on you inside of the town. So, I mean, that does make a little bit of sense, being that we do have a lot of problems with the mass shootings. And it's super hard to tell. I mean, I do know that this is something that we got with an interview about the Second Amendment, 3 or 4 days ago? And the one group of people that are excited about this, about the big corporate retailers not selling ammo anymore, are the gunsmiths and the gun stores, like the actual gun stores. Because a lot of these, same way that Walmart put out every tool company, every every mom and pop store in America, when they started selling firearms, right, they did the same thing to all of your local gunsmiths. And they took a lot of, that's one of the reasons why guns are so easy to get a hold of, is because you no longer had to go through a actual trained gunsmith, right? The guy that sells guns can tell you, what you need them for. If you come in, do you need a rocket launcher? Nah, man, I think you need a 22 to shoot rabbits, right? There's not, and they're happy that is coming back to them. And they're also pretty happy with the responsibility of being kind of that first line in defense between firearms and the community.
Yeah, see, I don't understand I don't know how much more gun laws that they can get than there already are right now, because now you can't own, a lot of places you can't own fully automatic machine guns. You can't own, a lot of places you can't own high capacity magazines. Now in a lot of states, they're incorporating background checks for bullets, mental health background checks for both rifle and pistols. I don't like when they say they want more strict gun laws. I don't know what the fuck else they need. Like
there are certain things that I think need to be put into play here if we have this gun conversation, and that is the tyranny conversation, which is something that they are trying to desperately skirt around, right? If you want to make more gun laws, we need to put into concrete terms that you cannot use military equipment, military weapons against the population. And I'm not talking about this like existential, we need to be extremely clear and precise.
No, it was designed. Yeah, it was designed. Most of those laws were designed to attack the government, not its own civilians.
Right, but we need to make sure that the government cannot attack the people, and that has not been done. And that is the real issue with the Second Amendment. The reason we need a Second Amendment is because these tyrannical fucks will shoot us. And the reason that I'm saying this is that at this moment, the National Guard is preparing to attack the camp at Mauna Kea, right, using military against unarmed civilians.
Yeah, that's a violation of habeas corpus. Yeah.
So again, same way they did at Standing Rock is that they're calling the military again on unarmed civilians. The same way that they bombed Black Wall Street. The same way that they were trying to use the military at the Bundy Ranch. The same way that they did use military tactics against the people in Waco. Right? I mean, we can go through over and over and over and over and over again, but the reason that it is extremely difficult to have the Second Amendment conversation is because our government continuously uses violent tactics against unarmed civilians, its own population. Sometimes weapons that they can't even use in war, tear gas specifically. Tear gas is illegal. It's a chemical weapon to use in war, but yet you can use it against your civilian population. Our police departments are overwhelmingly militarized now. That has to end.
Yeah,
Those two
I've been saying for the
not gonna
longest
take
time, is that, law enforcement, the technology has got to the point where we can take down a person in a car or on foot, not put them on the ground with non-lethal force, there's tons of technology out there. I can go into hours about all the shit that they have because I'm usually on the up and up on new technology, especially with guns and ammo, that can take down a person, not hurt them. Well, it won't kill them. I'm not saying it won't hurt them, and put them down on the ground without killing them. And I don't understand why they haven't taken away lethal rounds from regular cops and only give them to special weapons and tactics where it should be.
Well, I don't even, the SWAT that we used to have was a small elite force for a very specific group of issues. But now that after 9/11, right, they use every single cop that's out there is armed and like he is SWAT, and he's not even trained for that.
Yeah, I was going to
You know
say
what I mean?
only special weapons and tactics should really have the lethal rounds. Now they have the 30, not 40 millimeter. They have a 38 millimeter
The
rubber
deal
round,
is,
foam round that they can shoot into a person's stomach, and it'll put them on the ground, right? It'll knock you on your fucking ass, and you can put them down. They even have charged bolas, like they used to have in Mexico, like about 100 years
yeah.
ago. They have charged ones where they can shoot it at a person. It'll wrap them up in like less than like a quarter of a second, and they can't fucking move. And it's out of a pretty strong wire. This is like stuff we have today. They also have for car chases. They have an EMP pulse that they've been cops have been or not the cops, but the technology companies have been working with to shut down a fucking car. Like this is stuff we have now.
But even then, these are, we have to be careful because it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, right? There is a very specific things that you need violent force for, right? And that is when you're dealing with a violent criminal, right? Not somebody that's behind on their child support, not somebody that didn't pay their rent, not because the water companies paid you to kick everybody out of this neighborhood, right? Like the list of things that have became like that they act like you're some sort of fucking terrorist that they need to call attack helicopters on to serve warrant, right? That has to go.
Well,
That's not.
a lot of these cops aren't trained enough to know the difference between, a cell phone or a gun. That's why, if a suspect has, hypothetically a dangerous weapon, they should be calling in special weapons and tactics.
But yeah, that's not what they're doing. I mean, they'll pull you over bad tail light and fill your car full of fucking 5.56.
Yep.
Right, and that's the problem because you see those things. You see the militarized police. You see the all guys in black go and protest. And it doesn't matter what protest you're on. Don't get it, brought up in left and right bullshit. Does not matter what protest you were on, right? The guys in black, fuck the guys in blue, right? The guys in black will show up and beat the fuck out of you, if not worse.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Right?
but these SWAT guys train 8 hours a day, every day, on how to be an efficient killer. It's like, I think they're more trained than the average cop.
Oh yeah, but they should be. But then look at something like Standing Rock. You've got your average beat cop, right, with his finger on the trigger through a high-powered sniper rifle with the crosshairs on my head. He is not trained to do any of that on an all-black SUV in camo.
I do remember the drone footage when they were illegally shooting drones in the air from Standing Rock.
I think there's the conversation that we need to have about a serious problem we got with mass shootings, right? The mental health is number one on that list, But at that same time, we need to have a real conversation about tyrannical government, which is why the Second Amendment is there. It's not there for hunting. It's
Nope.
not there
Yep.
for
Yep.
that. It's there because if the government gets the chance, they will take your shit. And if you say no, they will shoot you.
Yeah.
And Mauna Kea is a perfect example of that, right? If you say no, they will send heavily armed people. And if you say enough, they will put a bullet through you, right? That shit has to end, or you can't have the Second Amendment conversation. And I'm left, y'all, right? Like, I agree that we need to have the conversation about the Second Amendment, right? We have to stop these mass shootings. But on the same note, a mass shooting, whether it's, by a psychopath or a mass shooting because you called the fucking military on me, are the same to me.
Yeah.
Right? I doesn't really particularly, I want to stop being gunned down, right? We need to make sure that nobody's getting gunned down. And I fear that this is just one more opportunity for them to, like I said, it's always the bad guys. And then, oh, by the way, we're clearing your neighborhood. We want to put a pipeline. Right? Even as much as I don't support some of the underlying things that were going on about the Bundy Ranch, right? Imagine how different that would have went if they were unarmed. Honestly, how different that would have went if they were unarmed.
They probably would have shot everybody the same way.
Like I said, to say that our government will not violently attack its own citizens with everything from the police, right, all the way up to mercenaries in the military is a joke. They do it all the time. They're doing it now.
Yeah, I mean, almost every government does that. You really don't see any difference, whether it's China or us or really any country. They all have the same playbook.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You could zoom in to just the line of bootlickers in black uniforms, and you could put any name you wanted, whether it's Moscow, whether it was Puerto Rico, whether it was somewhere in the U.S., whether it was the Yellow Vest protest, whether it was Hong Kong or the Philippines, right? You could put anywhere you want. They look exactly the same. If there's one thing that is 100% true, it's the oppressors are united, right? They're even buying all the same equipment. Right, like the same companies are selling them to any oppressor that will fucking buy. Right, you need to oppress people. You're getting it all from the same company.
Yeah, well, it's just what you put up with. I mean, any government that's ever been around has always done this, though. They always try to defend themselves. It's just, really what you're going to put up with. Do you have a decent government, and will you put up with it?
I don't know, the shit that's going on right now in the United States. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, my personal view is the pyramid scheme that's been running for so very long is coming to an end. It's being exposed and coming to an end.
Oh, speaking of which, yeah, you mentioned pyramids. I did want to talk about Jeremy Hammond. We did talk about that before, but the FBI is now monitoring groups that are protesting the U.S. immigration policy. And that also goes for the Jews Against ICE, which is a religious institution.
Well, and then the police that were arresting the Jewish protesters, I think it was in New York, were all members of Nazi groups. Like they all had, and they were blatantly showing their tattoos while they were arresting Jews. I mean, it was just it's hard to even believe that that's the world we live in. But yeah, the officers that signed up to to fight the protesters to be there to arrest them were all members of their local Nazi groups, white supremacist groups, and they all had their sleeves rolled up so you could see their Nazi tattoos.
Oh my God! They actually do this openly now.
Yeah, remember they just in Los Angeles they busted a group of officers. I think it was about 16 of them. They all had this weird skull tattoo, and it turns out that was some sort of a cop gang that they had that was pro-white supremacist.
That was Masonic.
Was it Masonic? I'm pretty sure it was racist. I don't know. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been plenty. I think. Again, if you don't know that when we've got a justice system that's specifically set up to oppress black, brown, and poor people that they've been infiltrated by Nazi groups. The FBI had said that way back in the day.
Well, and here's the deal: is that I'm not gonna mention how I get my intel, but there are places that monitor financial dealings with white supremacists, and some of the transactions that go to some of these places. Like I know for one thing, the admin of the Daily Stormer at one point was sitting on $1 million. I'm just saying, like there's some serious money going through these people.
Well funded, well organized, which is why it's a shock that our government agencies that claim to be fighting this and fighting white supremacy can't find them. It's always a complete shock to them.
Yeah. Well, I all I can say is that Andrew Oppenheimer is Andrew Oppenheimer, aka Weave, brought like I don't know. He has no OPSEC. Like his transactions are being monitored on the daily. Like,
give it a second. We will be posting this relatively soon. We were just sent the 10,000 page document from the Virginia Roberts trial.
What's that?
So we will. Jeff Epstein. It should have. It's got a lot of his sex slave list on there.
Yeah, hundreds of names. Yeah, 10,000 pages. It's a lot.
The names.
I'm just okay. Somebody's gonna have to go to jail, especially his girlfriend. Maxwell has to go. She's probably gonna have to go for.
But Tyler, they're rich.
I don't give a fuck. I spent more than 2 years behind bars because I was a dumbass. Like I did dumb shit and I go to jail. Like I go to prison. That's what happens. They do dumb shit. The same thing should happen to them.
Yeah.
Right. But
Tyler, your sound is fixed now. Your sound was fucked up, but it was something with the server. But I had to switch the server. So.
Oh, okay.
Now it is.
Yeah,
now it seems to be.
We'll get the document up as soon as we can here.
So I don't know if anybody caught our special show. So we did a special. Jeremy Hammond was moved from the Nashville Federal Corrections Center to Virginia, where he is being housed in the same federal. He's not in federal prison right now. He's in county in Virginia, and he's being housed in the same facility as Chelsea Manning. So the Department of Justice wants Jeremy Hammond to testify against Julian Assange. Jeremy Hammond was an anon. He was pro Antifa. He was a pro anarchist. He was a big contributor to a lot of the crypto anarchists and a lot of other stuff. But he was one of us. He did do a lot of online activism, and now after serving 8 years behind bars, in which his parole date was coming up, and now we don't know if he's going to get out.
Well, I mean, they'll hold him for forever to try to put some sort of pressure on him to squeal, to say what they wanted to say. It's not even enough that that he would say what happened. They already know what happened. They're trying to put enough pressure on him so that he'll say what they want him to say.
Well, him being moved already put like 1 year additional to his sentence, like because he was going to get out in December, but he was part of like a program in his local where he was imprisoned, and now he's like moved to another location and he's no longer part of that program, so he won't cut that year off. So it will be next year now. So he's already fucked.
Yeah, I mean, I think that until we change administrations, they just have to stay strong. Like there's, stay with the lawyers, don't talk, But yeah, right now it's not, like I said, it's not that they're trying to find out any more information. They got all the information. They know everything that happens. They've already charged everybody, put them in prison. They've already served their time, right? Right now, they're trying to get them to say the things that they want to say, being that they've got to try to build a case against WikiLeaks, against Julian Assange. And the only way that that's going to work is if they get somebody to lie for them.
Well, here's the thing: is that all of the Stratford case and the hack that Jeremy had done, it's all there in the court case. There's no information. Jeremy didn't withhold anything in his trial, so there's nothing to take. There's nothing to take from Jeremy. In fact, Jeremy, like, I respect for Jeremy for not wanting to do anything. I really do. Not wanting to testify because Jeremy and WikiLeaks aren't exactly on the same. They're on the same playing field. They're like, he doesn't really support Julian, but at the same time, he's not going to give the man his satisfaction on him ratting somebody out. So, I don't know. It's really in a pickle because it's cruel. It's double jeopardy. B, it's cruel and unusual torture. It's abuse. It's abuse of the Department of Justice to ask a person who's already serving time for a crime to be questioned about it a second time from another source. So both Chelsea and Jeremy Hammond are technically in what's known as double jeopardy, which I believe is a violation of the Fifth Amendment.
Oh yeah, but the terrorism. Did you say terrorism?
No, I didn't say. I don't think so.
Oh yeah, you got to say terrorism, and then you can throw away anybody's rights you want. So yeah, all those habeas corpus, Fifth Amendment. No, as long as you say terrorism, then you can get away with everything.
Yeah, and this espionage act that they're trialing. They're going to trial Assange under. So
there's spies. Did we mention Russia? Will that trigger you enough? Is that a word?
Hey, Russia Gate a few times. Russian agent, CIA agent, Mossad agent. Just say everything, whatever you need to discredit them.
ABC, ATF, CIA, XYZ. Just go down the list, right?
They even called him a Rothschild employee. I've seen that on Twitter too, though.
Yeah, I've seen. Yeah, if Julian was a Mossad agent, there would be more money. He wouldn't be in jail. If he was a Russian agent, same situation. He wouldn't be in jail. Well,
probably his accusers would be murdered or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, some of this is just to scare other people from ever standing up. An example of Julian for this very reason. This is what happens if you expose corruption. Right. This is why we have whistleblower protections, because this is what tyrannical governments will do.
That doesn't mean anything right now.
It's just showing, hey, this is what happens if any of you try to stand up. If ever somebody tries to expose our corruption, this is what happens.
Well, Julian is not a U.S. citizen, and if he loses the trial in February, after that it means that every journalist in the world who says something bad about the U.S. can be extradited to the U.S. and end up in a U.S. jail. So it should matter to everyone on the left, on the right, or wherever you are. Like, you will be fucked after February if he is going to lose. But
but look how quickly the corporate media forgot about it. As a journalist, is being held behind bars for doing what they're supposed to be doing, right? Investigative journalism, exposing corruption, what the news is actually supposed to be fucking doing, right? Their brethren is in prison, right? Being extradited, all sorts of different charges, and their life being thrown away, and they're completely silent. Unless social media, right, demands that a story comes up, then they'll post it for shares. It's just lip service.
Yeah.
I would people who doubt Assange or whatever. I would ask them to consider the idea that maybe governments are actually working to make the support for Assange in February as small as possible, so they get this legal victory, and they set a legal precedent to arrest journalists after that. and they're doing everything to make the support as little as possible, and this even coming from people inside the resistance.
Yeah.
I definitely think there is a concerted campaign behind the scenes and pretty noticeably up front to try to discredit, to make sure that the only information that's floating around the internet about Julian Assange is negative. There's definitely a concerted and expensive effort to try to do all of that. We have to fight back against it. You know the truth, whether like we do on everything in there. We've all got our own opinions and which side, and which sides we lean or what, that's fine. But at the end of the day, this goes far above that, right? This has to do with our ability to speak out, right? And Julian really does represent that. We can't let it fall between the cracks. Every time something happens, every time his lawyer comes up, every time, his mom posts something, share it out. Make sure that it doesn't get buried between the propaganda and the corporate government advertising and news agencies. Like in this case, it really is up to us. And if we if we keep it in the news enough, they can't hide it. They have to talk about it, or it exposes them for the corrupt that they are. It's my little rant there. Share.
Yeah.
The revolution will not be televised. It'll be uploaded, live streamed, and shared.
So below our stream is a comment that it says that Assange doesn't have the backing of most of the military because they believe he put them in danger. I have something to say about that, and that is that WikiLeaks actually tried to redact the names out of these people, and they didn't want to publish these people because they didn't want to bring them in danger. But then the Guardian published a book, and they actually sold all these people out, and they made that caused the publishing of all these unredacted names, and that eventually caused the war between WikiLeaks and the Guardian.
Well, I can say from a veteran's perspective, and I don't know if if the guy that commented or the woman that commented is a veteran or not, but as a veteran, I hate being used and seeing my brothers and sisters being used for oil profits, for corruption. Right? Everything about the war that was exposed proved it to be wrong, and those people need to be brought to task. They used us to murder innocent people, and WikiLeaks exposed that. As a veteran, I thank him for that. The hardest thing to find online right now, go in and type Veterans for, right, and leave it open. And there are millions of sites. Veterans for gardening, Veterans for solar, Veterans for peace, right? There is no Veterans for War page. There is no Veterans for War group. There is no Veterans for War Twitter account, right? And the reason for that is because as soon as you get out, right, and a lot of times while you're in, you realize that it's a scam, right? That this is bogus. This is not what I signed up for. I signed up to defend my country, right? Not be used as a mercenary for oil. And that's are the things that WikiLeaks exposed. I would argue that most veterans are extremely supportive of what Julian did, and for those very reasons, because he exposed the things that we can't speak out about, right? You're expected to follow orders. Right, the push to war comes from the country, not from you. You feel that you're defending your country. That's all you're given. And if he had exposed that, we would still be being used, if not worse, right, as mercenaries, killing innocent people in their homelands for no other reason, so that Dick Cheney can make a little extra money.
Yeah, and you as a veteran speak out in favor of WikiLeaks, but don't forget that also another famous veteran, Chelsea Manning, is speaking out in favor of WikiLeaks, and she did everything she could to defend Assange.
And I'm sure you can find a veteran, or you can find a guy out there that fuck him, right? Just he's willing to say it. But I would urge them to look and see what did that end, right? That pretty much ended the belief that the Iraq War was just, right, or legal. And that pulled back an entire corrupt system that we're able to fight against, right? The reason they haven't been able to march us to war again, right, is because of WikiLeaks. And I value that as a veteran, that plenty of soldiers did not die because of what they did. I value that. Anytime you keep my brothers and sisters out of harm's way for like the worst reason, profit, oil profit, something we're not even going to be using. You wasted my brothers and sisters' lives, right? Their honor, their patriotism, right, to make Dick Cheney money. Like I said, for those reasons, not just the release, but what it exposed, I think was extremely important. Those soldiers' lives were in much more danger being deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan against people that were desperately, defending their homeland, right, than they are back home because we couldn't go to war, right, because they couldn't spin that story, because they couldn't use the propaganda. Like I said, there's plenty of opinions, but that's something that I would ask someone to at least consider, right? When you do, if that's the way that you're thinking. I would like nobody's life to be in danger. And for those of us that do post information about what's going on in the world, we do have to be careful in names and locations and all of that stuff. Maybe from WikiLeaks perspective, I probably would have censored that before I even sent it to the Guardian. You know what I mean? But we are probably way more protective of our sources than other people are for all sorts of reasons. Way
Yeah,
more.
the Guardian was one of the closest partners of WikiLeaks back then. They were like part of like the media, the group of media companies that would like were like attached to WikiLeaks, and they would like publish everything WikiLeaks had. But they made a mistake and they published too much, and that caused a fight between WikiLeaks and the Guardian. And the Guardian blames WikiLeaks for stuff, and WikiLeaks blames the Guardian for stuff.
They fined or any of the Guardian's journalists in prison for posting it, or are they in any sort of trouble, or is it all good as long as the Guardian does it?
Yeah, see, that's it. That's the thing. It was Glenn Greenwald who was doing that, and he's kind of like a famous journalist. He is so far didn't get not much heat for it.
Oh, but it's obviously a big issue. So let me ask you this: so the book that was sold that had these soldiers' information, so they could no longer work in their job and any of that, how much of the proceeds from that book went to those soldiers?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, yeah.
I wonder. I have an idea. But yeah, we have to protect our whistleblowers. Agreed. They need to be careful. But I think that especially when it comes to WikiLeaks, they saved soldiers' lives, undeniable, in that they're not able to continually push us to war. And I don't know if, like, in the near future, if they're going to be able to. Like, nobody's bought any of the crap that they're selling. Even the Iran stuff has not gained very much traction other than the warmongers. The general population is not down to it. In that, they're not, the recruiting offices do not have lines out them for people signing up to support the war in Iran, right? And that's not the case. At the end of 9/11, the recruiting offices were full, right? Every job was filled. Right now, they can barely make recruiting goals, which means that none of the games that they're spinning are working. And the longer that goes on, the less likely that people are to buy it. It's that game is slowly coming to an end. Not fast enough for me. So that's why I say slowly. But I don't think, Venezuela, we've seen several things that have popped up, and even the things that we're not directly involved in is like boots on the ground. In bombings in Yemen and all of that, like even that they're starting to want to pull back from. And the military-industrial complex is happy selling bombs, right? So I mean that does give me a little bit of inspiration, of hope for the future, in that none of these wars, none of the stories that they're spinning are gaining very much traction in the population. We got quite a list, guys. I want to try to get through. Try to get through as many of these as we can. Did we go through the Olibini updates?
No. Maybe Mark's more up and up on this one. But last I heard, Ola keeps on giving the last I heard he was still fighting the case, but there's some he's literally fighting the court system tooth and nail for a crime he didn't commit. I don't know, Mark, do you have any updates on that?
Well, there was something today or like 11 hours ago, and that is that apparently like a guy's house was raided. Fabian Hurtado, who conducted an expert report hired to defend Olabini. They seized his cell phone and his computer. So people involved with defending Olabini are being raided, so to speak.
Well, was this his lawyer in Ecuador, or what? Did they raid his offices somewhere else?
Domicile, so they raided his house, I think. Domicile means house, right?
Yeah, it was in Ecuador, yeah.
Well, definitely our thoughts go out with him. Again, just government putting unneeded pressures on people to keep them silent.
Well, yeah, I read across an article. I mean, that was essentially what he was saying. It's just like, look, this is all just persecution of us for what we've done. You know, it's not anything we're doing now, or not anything we really did. It's just this is just what they do.
Well, it's just like, geez, guys, is there literally a time you stand with the people, like, ever? And I mean, what I want to know is I know there was a little bit of money transferred or whatever, but was it really worth it for Ecuador? Like, what support is the U.S. giving Ecuador that's so great?
Yeah.
Nothing.
I'm translating it from Spanish, by the way, so it's a little difficult. But so apparently it was not his lawyer that's raided, but like the expert they hired to explain more about this case. That the expert was raided, and the expert, he says that they wouldn't give him the warrant, and they wouldn't let him call his lawyer. He was totally defenseless, so he's outraged about that.
Wow.
Yeah, you see more and more going after lawyers now. Who was there? There was a guy, a reporter in San Francisco. Same thing. His lawyer got raided after he did. It seems to be a tactic more and more. That way, you don't get spook all the lawyers, so you don't get any representation. Not that you're getting much anyway.
They're alleging a crime of procedural fraud against him, and they say they don't fear any reprisals. They think it's okay to do it. And there was a computer expert who was collecting proof in Olabini's case. And a lot of violence was used too. So that's pretty much it.
Wow. Yeah, he's already trying to charge you with, and anybody that finds information proving that, they raid their house. Interesting.
Yeah, apparently they just make up like some false charges, and they just raid your house, and they use violence again.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's like sitting it out. He made, he promised them he wasn't a flight risk and all of that. So I don't want to put that out. He says he's not a flight risk, so I'm under the impression he is going to stay there no matter what.
He said he wanted to live there. I mean, he likes Ecuador, he says, and it's like a great country, he said, and he wants to stay there, and he was not planning to leave at all. Like, yeah. I don't know what's with that. Well, I would agree. I would like totally leave the country if they. I don't know what. Not by plane, maybe just take a boat to some other country and take a plane there.
Steal McAfee's boat, take off.
Yeah.
But isn't it like Cuba? Isn't it sitting somewhere? Oh, I'll write them. I might write the Dominican. I wrote him a little bit ago. I might write the Dominican Republic and see if we can borrow it, to move solar to the Bahamas, which is what we're doing now. We kind of need a boat, so that would work out great. Well,
man, you really want that kind of scrutiny, man? You know they're going to be watching that motherfucker.
Well, that's fine.
Honest, we're just water protectors. Yeah, that's
And Haiti needs solar more than Haiti needs solar more than anyone else. So yeah, fuck, man. My next stop, once we get the Bahamas taken care of, I'll bring it here too. This is win-win, guys. So no, go ahead. We got a couple. Yes. Yeah, and I agree 100%. I support everything. My heart and thoughts and support goes out to our brothers and sisters in Hong Kong. They've been doing really great work in their protest and their response to the protest. In their shows of unity. Our uh, oh, the cone. Yeah, we're learning everything that we possibly can. Um, I think it's interesting the way that the Chinese government is painted compared to the way that they responded. So, I mean, there has been lots of police brutality, no doubt. But when you look compared to the U.S. response to those same situations, look, the people of Hong Kong have made their voices heard, and the government run right up to it, and at the end of the day said, "No, we're actually going to take this back." Where our fuck, they just won't stop. Right? They'll go all the way to having the National Guard on you. And it seemed like China wasn't willing to do that. They've got a massive army. They could have, right? The same way, and I am bringing up Standing Rock and Mauna Kea again, but it's interesting to see that in their protests, they eventually are like, you know what, there's only so far that we can go. But when dealing with our government, there is no lengths that they won't go, no way that they won't hurt you, no violent tactic that they won't use.
No, there were some rumors that the Chinese hired these local triads, right? There were like these groups of people suddenly like bashing these protesters, and they seem to be like organized, like local
Yeah, I'm
criminals.
sure.
Yeah.
Some infiltrating tactics, hire the local. I mean, those are pretty common, tactics in general. Hire local baddies. Those are the kind of things we see normally in the U.S. with union busting, right? So they'll hire the local mafia to beat you up if you're protesting your living wages and stuff like that. So that's a pretty common tactic. We just have to keep at it. And if you're at a nonviolent protest, the people that stand up and want to be violent, they're infiltrators, no doubt. Kick them out. Get them the fuck out of here.
Well, they've already got like separated. They got like the tier one guys who are the front lines people, tier 2, 3 medics. I mean,
Yeah,
they've got it.
guys
You know,
that handle tear gas or their tear gas 4-man teams, just absolutely brilliant. But there's a couple of things to say. Is they're all fighting for the same goal. Where we break down into bullshit so quick. You know, they're all fighting for one, and everybody's able to do their little part. Where we're super unorganized because we're easily split over fucking anything.
Yeah.
Even if you get Yeah. Oh no, that's what I'm saying. We get broken up over everything, race, religion, and if you get people there that are the same race or religion, they'll start East Coast, West Coast, top of the state, bottom of the state, right, left, right. Like we are so easily divided, and distracted away from who our real enemies are.
Yeah,
You know,
and the Hong Kong protesters, they were able to deliver like I think it was 5 demands, and like pretty much everyone agreed to it. Like they delivered these demands, and it had to do with extradition. And yeah,
yeah, I believe it. Good.
yeah,
Good.
Well, they need to quit demanding American democracy and freedom, because that's not really saying that much. I mean,
No.
they can do better than that. And
yeah.
Yeah, get out of here. Tape them up and send them back. Yeah. Just go away. It's like, go away. Can you just be cool? Can you be cool? My authority. Look, man. Can you be cool?
well, you know what? I don't get, like, on this extradition. I mean, they're being kind of picky away because they've already got extradition treaties with like 20 countries, including the U.S. So it's like, I mean,
Yeah, but I think like most of them, they have control over it. Where here, it's like, you're like, we'll come in and take any of your citizens that we deem criminal.
yeah. Well, then they think that we're referring to, like, we got more rights under, British common law and all that, and then they're telling them now they're going to, keep them from rioting under 1960s riot laws. And so, I mean, once again, it just shows you. I mean, basically every government has the same playbook. Yeah. Only the elites. We need oligarchs, and we need a plutocracy. That's what we need.
Yeah,
Boy,
people could. Yeah, it would be wise to wake up. Sorry, Terrence.
No, it wasn't important. That just sounds fun. Like that's just a complete nightmare. Bow down and lick and boot. Num 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 num. Ooh, is this flavored shoe polish? This is wonderful. Did you get this from Joe Biden?
And they need to be using the green black polish so that when you lick the boot, it's actually tasty and it's good for you.
Nah, guaranteed it's made by Monsanto. They're guaranteed to cause. If you're licking too much boot, guaranteed to cause cancer.
And a slow death.
Yeah. Hold on here. I don't know if we're gonna go into the Brexit stuff at all, Mark. I think you'd probably be. There's been a couple of updates, kinda.
Yeah, it's turning into chaos like expected. Like now there is there are people asking for a second referendum. So this Boris Johnson guy who like runs UK now, he wants to push the Brexit, of course, because people voted for Brexit, and he just wants to like leave the EU. But he just lost his majority in his parliament, and now they stopped it again, and now they are trying to put something in law that says they can't leave on a no deal Brexit, meaning there has to be made a deal, and that's how they can leave. That's what they're trying now. And so this Boris Johnson guy, he's like raging, and he says, "I want new elections on October 15th," and they're trying to also like delay that. And so there were questions asked of Boris Johnson. Said like, "So are you planning to stop the whole Brexit thing?" And then he said like, "No, I would rather die or something." He said like in his speech. He would. Yeah. So yeah, he's diehard.
He's a fun one. He reminds me of you guys watch The Simpsons. You've got Chief Wiggum and his kids. Trump reminds me of Chief Wiggum and what's his kid's name?
Yeah, he does actually. He looks a bit like that guy, like that kid. Yeah.
I have to apologize to our audience. I don't know if my audio was streaming the whole time. I realized it about 2 minutes ago.
Cool.
I think so. I didn't hear any replies about that.
Did you turn YouTube on?
I don't know.
Well, he said we're being censored on YouTube at the moment, so we're gonna have to repost this to some other spots.
No, like my audio configured. I clicked on. I noticed there was an X on my mic, but I could have sworn that I turned it on, so I'm not sure why it was unclicked. So I don't know if I went the whole show without it on, or I must have bumped something. Well, we'll figure it out after the show. But my audio's on now. I just I don't understand how that happened.
I was going to share out the YouTube page, but yeah, when I went to the YouTube page, it's closed, and then what you said, it's not until something like that.
Yeah. We have a few days left.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to real quick finish on the Brexit thing. Yeah, they voted to leave, so they should actually just honor that democratic vote. On the other hand, Boris Johnson is kind of like the worst person to actually do this, because he's like he's rude in public, and he's not like uniting people over this, and they should, because they can easily leave and they can always return later. It is not such a big issue at all. It is a democratic vote, so just get things over with. That's all. That's my personal opinion. I don't speak for anyone. So
European countries have said, like, when the date passes, it's over. Like, there isn't. You don't get to constantly try to negotiate a better deal for yourself. That's it.
Yeah. I'm not sure what to think about, like, why would people be so obsessed with staying in the EU? I mean, no government is perfect, and the EU certainly isn't perfect. I mean, they did such weird stuff to us. I mean, censoring the internet, denying the vote of 2 million Catalans. What the hell is up with that? Like,
well, and it may have inadvertently given the Irish people their freedom, which is what is needed. Like, they're having problems with banking and stuff now, and Ireland doesn't have that problem, being that they're part of Europe. But I know that's starting to cause some real issues too, because they don't want to be occupied. They're not part of England; they're part of Europe. So why are you occupying the top part of Europe? Island in Europe. That starts becoming a bigger and bigger issue. the closer this Brexit, this Brexit, like it or not, England does not get to occupy a piece of Europe.
No, yeah, historically, the Northern Ireland is considered part of England, of the UK,
Well,
and the island is
it's not part of England. It's considered occupied. It's not
yeah. No, you're right. That is very difficult. That is it's just like a part, and that's what they're also like fighting about, because then like the border would be like on Ireland itself. Like now there's no border because they're all EU and they're like borderless, so they can just move from Ireland to Northern Ireland and stuff. But then there would actually be like a border between Northern Ireland and Ireland.
Yeah,
and that would be weird. Yeah,
hard border. Yeah, it's just like, I mean, I think they were gonna have to relinquish that area anyway. You don't get to, like I said, you don't get to occupy Northern Ireland forever. Like, what's up with that? You got to go, especially now that you're no longer part of Europe. Like, it's just one more reason why you don't need to be occupying a piece of Ireland.
Well, I can't imagine Europeans wanting another layer of government. That's what I never understood. It's like, you got way more government plus royals. Why do you need another layer of government?
Well, some of it has to do with the size of Europe. So, like, when we're looking at the globe that you and I saw in our schoolrooms, right, is not reality, right? Europe is not the size that you would, that you see when you look at the map, where it's roughly, half the size of the United States and like that. It's very much skewed. These are, some of these are extremely tiny countries, but when you look at them on the map, you expect that power to be the same as, dealing with the economies of Asia or Africa or the United States. You can fit all of the countries in the world into just Africa. And, when you look at the map, you would think that, Africa is half the size of Europe, and that's not true. So to really do have to fight as one, just because there's not, in a global economy, you can only sell but so much olive oil.
Yeah, and has to do with post-war fears, of course. I think like if we're not united, then we're going to fight again, and it's going to be Germany attacking France or the other way around. And yeah, there are some legitimate fears for.
Yeah, what's up with them shutting down Parliament because over this Brexit shit? Like now everybody's just protesting in the streets in front of the Parliament all day long.
Yeah, so. Because there should be a Brexit at the end of October, right? But they're now going to delay it again. But because there is a Brexit at the end of October, Boris Johnson said, "I'm going to make sure that there is no more crap in Parliament. They're no longer going to try to delay this. So I'm going to shut down the entire Parliament, and I'm going to let the Queen do a speech." And so the Queen actually signed and agreed with it. And everyone started to rage because they say that this is a coup. The Queen is actually suspending our parliament, like our democratic parliament.
Yeah, that's not cool. They should just remove the Queen.
Well, that goes back to their basic misunderstanding of who their true ruler is. I mean, that's their fault.
Didn't Belgium dissolve parliament that they were so fucked up and couldn't get anything done?
Yeah, Belgium has been like without a government for like a year or two. Sometimes they usually don't even have a government.
Well, now Parliament a while back had decertified the government of the UK after they failed to come up with the Brexit deal. So you don't really have a certified government. You don't have a parliament now. You're back to royal rule. That's what they're telling you here.
It would be nice if you could. I mean, there's a certain point in time when you're like, all right, guys, this is a clusterfuck. You're not getting anything done. We're starving. We're at war. We're breaking off of Europe. You're all fired. You're just all fired.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're allegedly a democratic government and you're not going to go by the vote, then you're not really a democratic government.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you deserve. They deserve to be decertified. I mean, that's the way you're going to do it.
They're also kind of like lying to the public, though, because the UK has already made deals behind the scenes with several countries. Like they just like made a new deal with Iceland and Norway, which are not part of the EU, but they are part of the European Economic Area, and they made deals with these countries already to keep on trading after they do Brexit, and with these deals they actually get access to the European market already. So there are deals already, but they continue to say like no deal, no deal.
Well, they don't. Yeah. Well, yeah. In reverse, government speak, that means they don't have a deal together yet. There's deals out there, and I mean, the commerce will keep going along, but they don't have their inside deal squared away yet.
Well, I heard even like one of the worries that they have is medication. The way that the health systems were all connected, and the way that medication came in and out of England, that they're expecting they have stocked up on some things, but I know they're expecting to have medication shortages out of this, and it seems like something that they should have. It doesn't seem like, I don't know, it should have been that difficult to figure out. You know what I mean?
Honestly, I don't know anything about that medication part, but I do know they say the same about food, that they will have like food shortages. But I know like my country is the largest exporter in agricultural products, like the Netherlands, and they already made it. They already have ensured the UK that they will continue like nothing happens. So I don't understand that part, because we are the largest agricultural exporter. I think even like top 5 in the world. I think that they will be fine on that part.
Well, I mean, the poverty rate in the UK is extremely high and has been going up. I wonder, even under it, that you won't end up with higher food costs because of taxes and all of that. There's England doesn't. That's the deal. Like, you guys are a huge exporter. If you quit trading, you'd still be able to produce your own food. There's more people than they can produce food on the island.
Yeah.
Bad deal. You can't, like, if you can produce all your, tell everyone fuck off. But when you're starting from zero, that is not a good deal. Like, you couldn't, even if you put every resource you couldn't make enough bread to feed your country. You'd have to get it from somewhere else. That seems like a stupid thing to cross your arms and walk away from.
Yeah, I'm not so scared about that food part. I do feel bad for UK students, for example, who are now in Europe. They will get some issues maybe, and free travel maybe also restricted. I mean, now I get $30. I travel to London from here.
People with disabilities that were traveling back and forth for treatments. Again, Netherlands has some really like groundbreaking cancer treatments and stuff. Those people are all gonna have all sorts of problems for no reason, really.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, this was all started over immigration, right? Right? We had these huge immigrants come in was because of the Iraq and Afghanistan war, because of our wars in North Africa, in the Middle East. And like literally the Bush era nightmare has completely destabilized the world to the point where Europe is breaking apart. Amazing.
Yeah, you have the immigration part in the west of Europe that it kind of comes from Africa to Spain, and they travel like beyond to France, and they try to get like to Netherlands or Northern Europe, and they also try to get from France to the UK, and the UK is again like you're saying is like debating about that immigration, and they don't want them on the island, so to speak, so they're trying to block them out, and they like France handle them or something. I don't know. It is like
that's what
weird because it's all
move was that being part of Europe demanded that they split up the refugees from the places that they're carpet bombing.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point. Like they if they stop bombing these people, then they won't have to worry about refugees.
No, they rather break off from Europe than quit bombing people. Like, that's at the end of the day. Oh,
and they know it too. That's the weird thing. They know this. They are part of this. They are bombing these people, and I don't. That's very weird.
Part of the game, I guess. Yeah, it's like you can do nothing. Like from our perspective, I'm way over here. You can do nothing but kind of tell people what's going on and watch it happen. Um, it is like reassuring sometimes though to know that America isn't the only country that's completely messed up like that. Like seeing Boris Johnson on TV gives me a little bit of solace,
Yes.
It's just the same in here. Yeah, no, you're right. It is. It is.
Yeah,
It is
like
the exact same.
little bit okay. It's not just all right. It's not just us. For a minute there, we were the only clown in the room, and now we've got a whole clown car to come with us, and that's a little bit. It's just disconcerting as it is. It's a little bit reassuring at the same time. Boris. He reminds me of the guy that, like, when you're driving down the street, people swing wanker at, and he agrees. You're a wanker. I know. I know. You're an idiot. I know. I know.
No. Well, it makes him the village oaf, doesn't it?
Yeah, but he had a very important, like, he gave an interview once. It was all like, and they asked him, like, how, are you playing, is it an act? And he says, well, the good thing about it is that if you're always doing it, people don't know when you're acting like an idiot or when you're really being an idiot.
He's like a little kid that never grew up.
Yeah.
Partially,
Yeah, he's the kid that bullied that you're all like, man, I know people aren't supposed to be bullying you, but have you tried shutting the fuck up? Wanker. Oh.
Yeah, don't be joking around and smiling when your government's all fucked up and you need to get serious,
Well, he got like really like done in by a group of protesters. I think it was yesterday or the day before. Not even protesters, just people walking down the street that were giving him like, why are you not negotiating? Why are you not in Brussels? Like he can't even walk down the street without being harassed like directly. This one gentleman walked up, shook his hand, and said, "Get out of my city." But in like the English way, like, please get out of my city, right? Like a direct as close as you can get to fuck you as an Englishman, right? He gets like no love. It's amazing that he's in the position that he is.
Yeah, but they shot Theresa May down too. I mean, politically, I mean, she was removed too. She was the last.
He's the only person that could look more incompetent than Theresa May.
Yeah, perhaps. Like, I don't know. It's almost on purpose that it almost seems to be on purpose that they're putting these guys against the whole EU choice.
Well, you do sometimes get into the George Bush tactic, so you can get away with some super horrible stuff and then blame it on he didn't know. You know what I mean? He's a little, it's Boris Johnson. Come on. Right? Where being a dunce, being that stupid, being a bumbling idiot, right, gets the people that are in charge what they want because they can use you as a fall guy. You don't hold it against him, right? He's not his fault. He's a fucking idiot, right? But you get the George Bush thing where you can walk around as a war criminal, right? Killed millions and millions of people, destabilize the entire planet and, sit back and paint. It wasn't him, right? It's Dick Cheney. He was just an idiot. Right, but he ends up being the fall guy with his demeanor, with his with how he acts. A lot of times that can be used against us. I mean, like I said, George Bush, Johnson, those are both great examples of how you can get away with really despicable stuff and play the dunce.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he is part of the so-called like the conservatives, like the conservative and unionist party actually, and they are like they're also called like the Tories, and they are actually the largest in the House.
Their largest or their longest standing member of the Tories switched sides over this, right? Over Boris Johnson.
True.
Yeah, and like he made a big deal out of it. So I mean, he's like the guy is super conservative. I mean, against gay rights, and I mean, really conservative. And he made it a point to stand up and then sit to their most openly gay, progressive leader when he switched sides. So he like made a huge deal out of it, to how important it was to him or something. But yeah, they lost some. It's not just their like time serving; those are real powerful members. They've got all the connections and all of the backroom stuff. I pretty much figure he's a fall guy. You know, they'll figure out there'll be another election, in union deal, but this gets them, you know, a click out. They can push it through. Okay, blame it on him. He's marched out as a fucking idiot, and we move on to another leader.
Yeah. Well, they are not like unknown like in history. They do always have like controversial leaders, like Margaret Thatcher or Winston Churchill. Those were like the leaders of that same party, or like that they were conservative prime ministers, so to speak. Like,
well, and I mean, even Tony Blair. I mean, complete corruption, warmonger. You know, the works. You know, it's another one that like he manages to walk away and not be a war criminal. He totally is.
Well, you're going to have to start having a discussion about all this immunity all these officials get, and just how far that goes. I mean, it's like, are you really immune so you can do anything? You know?
Yeah, there comes a point where, you know, when you're 100% right in that. Why are they able to get away with doing these horrible things that the world knows about? You know, it's not like it's hidden or, you know, this isn't a part of history, and it's like it's right there in front of you, but yet none of these people are responsible for the games that they played. Ever. Because of immunity, you're allowed to murder people and steal and deal drugs and smuggle people and torture people and do all of these terrible, terrible, terrible things, and yet you're granted immunity because freedom, terrorism, what the communists, what is it? What gives you that right to fucking, you know, rape, murder, and steal across the planet?
Yeah, you know, it seems like that. It's like, hey, you know, that'll cover you for like, you know, petty stuff and government operations, things you were supposed to be doing, but it's like, you can't just go to war based on fake shit. And I mean, anyway, since when do you get immunity for that?
Yeah, and it's not like oh, you were given fake bad information and then you went with it. No, you made up the information. You knew it was bad. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not manslaughter, it's murder. You know,
yeah, premeditated and
made that shit up. Like paid a dude to say it. Yeah, terrible. We did kind of bitch about Facebook already, but I think we should, between Facebook and what was it? WhatsApp? Who ended up? Twitter? Didn't the Twitter CEO get hacked?
Yeah, that was kind of controversial too. So, yeah, Jack Dorsey got hacked over a SIM swap, and then he got so mad that he got hacked that he shut down CloudHopper, which is the text to it's text to post function. So if you text, you know, a 4-digit code, which is 404-71 or some shit like that, it'll and if your number is linked to your profile, it'll post to your account via CloudHopper. They had managed to post using it wasn't even an exploit. I think they faked the number.
Yeah.
And then you know, this isn't a real sophisticated hack, to be just being real. And you know, there's all sorts of vulnerabilities. I was talking to Mark before, you know, the show that, you know, even using Phone Verify has its own vulnerabilities, you know, because especially to the SS7 signaling system 7 hack, in which a hacker can essentially read all of the messages and data that is coming from your phone. It really, I don't know. Whenever you use an arbitrary means to post to a site, it's going to have more vulnerabilities than using the end application. And Jack Dorsey, he gets the idiot award there. You know, if he was using CloudHopper, you know, even if he knew that the option was there, he should have shut it off, or taken his number off of his profile.
Yeah, as easy as that was, I'm wondering if he wasn't using some sort of call forwarding system. and they managed to ghost the phone during the call forward. I mean, that would be the easy. I mean, that's like high school stuff.
The posts made by the hackers were made from the Cloud Hopper system, and so it's been suggested that they used like a SIM swap thing that they like simply call like in this case AT&T, I think, and they call them and ask for like a SIM swap, and like they actually get like access to your.
There's some exploits that you can normally get into because they allow you. A lot of the phone companies allow you to switch SIM cards and add more than one SIM card. So there's actually a lot of vulnerabilities, especially if he's, well, I assume he's a world traveler. My phone's got 4 SIM cards in it. I'm sure his has got at least 2. Just to be able to go back.
Oh yeah, that's becoming more and more common with international phones. Is the dual SIMs?
Yeah. That brings us to our favorite, just about data leaks and hacking. So the Facebook username and data and the phone numbers. Facebook had a huge database of people's personal phone numbers, and at the same time they are trying to launch a dating app. So very, very soon here we will be doing a story on the database leak from the dating app that has all of your pictures on it, personal you chats back and forth to whoever you're dating or chatting up at the time. All of that information is going to be leaked very, very soon here. I would imagine the first leak will come probably a month after the release of the app, and then they'll be steady every Thursday. We'll have a new leak from their from their dating app, followed by it being used for child smuggling. I think is normally their.
Well, yeah, what was crazy is that on the internet there was a website that had published all 490 million Facebook accounts affiliated with the phone numbers that were affiliated with them, and
Facebook demands that you give them your phone number to continue keeping your page open, your groups open, right? You had to give them a phone number, and this is what they did with it.
Yeah, I didn't dig too far into where it was, but it kind of was leading more towards, from the pictures, that it wasn't like an independent website that had this. This was a function within the Facebook developer side. So if you use the call function to search on this database, it would give you back the Facebook user's number. There are more vulnerabilities, and I won't say them on the air, but Facebook, patch your fucking developer shit. Like the back-end developer sites.
Yeah.
Like I once asked, God, where should I even say this on the air?
Yeah.
Okay, so their ad IDs on the Facebook developer page has a search function, which I'm not sure if many people know that, but if you search the Facebook ad ID, it'll give you the person who owns it and the account that's affiliated with it. So I'm not sure if that was supposed to be open for everybody to search it, but now if you look through the code and you see a Facebook ad ID, which is like I think it's done in base 64, or it's a hash. I don't know. It's a bunch of gobbledygook. But when you put it on the search function you can see who is posting it. Facebook needs to patch their shit. I'm pretty sure that not many people are looking into this, but I can look in the code in on inspect element on any browser, look up the fucking Facebook ad ID, go back to the facebook.dev and use the call function and see who the fuck the ad was affiliated with and who's paying for it. So I'm not sure if that's meant to be out in public, but
well, look, we're telling you now to save people's public information. So you know about this issue. I'm sure that your programmers knew about this issue. I'm sure you know about this issue. Let's fix it. You know what I mean? Like at a certain point, this isn't like really intense. You know, people aren't hacking your system. These are huge flaws in your security, like basic stuff, guys. I mean, my view is it's on purpose. Like,
Well, a lot of companies, what they'll do, and especially big companies, is they will put more time and effort into front end development, the user end stuff, and they'll develop a lot of their security protocols along the front end stuff because that's where they think that most of the attackers will come. That's not that's further from the case. Most hacks come from unconventional places, not generally the front door.
I'm under the impression at this point, once a week we've got a new leak or a new breach of data of some sort with Facebook. I am really under the impression that the way that they're doing this is because everybody's on the no-call list and there's all these privacy things. You pay Facebook, buy a bunch of stock, do your thing, right? And every couple of weeks they leak this information, and then the companies buy them up and use them to do their thing. What they used to do, call bankings for, when they need to get your cell phone number, all of that stuff. I don't think that these leaks, because it's so obvious, I think it's done on purpose, that it's a money-making scheme. Rather than illegal to just sell people's information, they do it through, and I'm quoting here, leak and data breaches, and then you just invest in the company. It doesn't have to be an immediate thing, right? You wait until the stock drops, right, from the last leak, and then you can, it doesn't have to be tomorrow. These guys make plans over the long term. We'll do this now, and in 5 years, right, when the company starts getting big, I'll be a big investor that backs Facebook, right? So they think way into the future. That kind of brings us to, to something I wanted to talk about, which is Biden's meeting with Wall Street today, a day after he was at the climate change town hall. Right? He's going and meeting with oil execs right now. And his thing is, I'm not taking money right now. No, you're not. You guys aren't planning for the fucking future. Right? Like, you guys work shit out, like all of that stuff. It doesn't, you know what I mean? They plan. It doesn't have to be money in my pocket, in the middle of night in a briefcase. Right? They plan for real over the long term. If I'm a company in Singapore, I'll have 1 million different accounts, buy $10 in stock.
Well, see, that's how the government works, though. It's like you have these concerns and these committees, about censorship, and then who do they ask to help them? Facebook and Twitter. See how that works? Yeah.
Yeah. So I honestly, I think this shit's on. It couldn't be. You know what I mean? You couldn't have a data leak every single week and it not be on purpose.
You can if you're Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, that just doesn't, you know what I mean? At a certain point, you ain't here for the fishing.
Well, that's what happens is, as Mark Zuckerberg believes more in automation than he does in manual review. And I get it. It's about a numbers thing. You're going to have, the computer is going to spot stuff for 10 times cheaper than somebody who's manually reviewing stuff. But at the same point, your bots are very vulnerable, I'm just saying, and they fuck up very frequently too.
The bot networks that are out there, I mean, this is out of control. You go to, they're all bitching about Russia and this and that. You go to any of their pages and they literally have millions and millions of bots running openly.
Yeah.
That's the same with other networks, by the way. But Twitter also has a huge problem with that you can just defeat the algorithms. They get accounts killed. They don't do anything wrong. You can actually get them restored later, but they're tweaking the algorithms. So you can pretty much push someone away from Twitter for a few days until it gets manually restored. But the system itself is fucked up. We noticed it with one of our accounts a week ago or something, or a week or two ago.
It's a pretty big account went down for nothing.
There was nothing. It didn't even do anything wrong. And it was suddenly suspended, entirely gone. And it took quite some lobbying to get it back at them. Yeah. It was restored pretty fast, within 24 hours by a guy there working there at Twitter. But the system itself is fucked up. And that's the same as with Facebook. You in the past you had like the mass reporting of pages or accounts, and they just get destroyed.
Yeah.
The system is not working. Like if you on Facebook, if you report something with 50 different people, it just gets removed.
Yeah, like well, and that's it's like I get reported for stuff for just the people that are haters, and they know the system. So like they know that if we're posting something against the Klan or something against the Nazi or something that has to do with historical genocide, they'll post it as hate. They'll turn it in as reported as hate speech, right? To get your page taken down, right? Just to keep that information off of the internet. Terrible.
Yeah, the system failed because they're trying to automate it, and if you trigger it enough, it listens to you. The system.
Oh yeah,
So
now it does. And the funny, speaking of weird automation, so Facebook this week admitted, I was a little off the topic here. They admitted indirectly that they've been doing facial recognition. Now we've been knowing this for a while, so now when you open your camera function to a new account, it's going to ask you if you want to opt in to facial recognition, which means that before users were opting in without their consent. And I believe in June it was decided in Illinois, because Illinois has one of the more stricter anti-surveilling laws. It's illegal in the state of Illinois to record somebody without their consent or knowledge. And now that's leaving them Facebook wide open to anybody suing Facebook because of this. And I believe there are several lawsuits out right now over that. Here's the deal is why does a social media platform need a facial recognition software other than to use it for law enforcement? That's it. That's the only thing that facial recognition software is used for. It's used for fucking law enforcement and military operations. It is not used for anything else. It's not used to gather anybody's fucking user data or what you're gonna buy. It's only there to identify you for law enforcement agencies and military operations or alphabet agencies. That's it.
Oh, come on, that's a conspiracy theory, Tyler.
Well, you don't use facial recognition software for seeing what a person likes to buy. You use the same techniques that they use when you hover over stuff and via browsing techniques and why their app is reaching further into the operating system than it should be, because it's looking for ad suggestions. It's looking at your Safari browser. It's looking at it's literally reaching for anything that it can so that you can get ads that are suggested to things that you like, so that they can make more money, so that they can have more revenue. But facial recognition software is not used for this kind of stuff. It's only used to identify you for law enforcement agencies.
And I don't know about anybody else, right? But I have literally never bought it from an ad. Never. I've never bought one thing from an ad. I've never went to a Chevy sales event. I've never went to the Ford year-end event. I've never been a car from a fucking commercial, right? I think of all the money that they've spent over all of this time trying to sell, and I've literally never. In fact, in today's day and age, when I see something on TV or when I get an ad, I immediately assume it's fake. Well, this is bogus, or it pisses me off because I think you're tracking what I'm doing. So yeah, I don't know.
Well, we have to tie your facial recognition into your social credit score, and whether or not you need guns, and whether or not we should let you travel and get on a plane. And
$5 says this leads to you, Jen. Oh,
that's what the good guys do.
You have been slated for immediate sterilization with the pre-department of the NSA.
Oh.
Indeed.
Well, and they also have this new software out. It's called Deepfake, and what they're training the bot to do is to determine whether people are faking pictures by training it to look for fake pictures.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. I love the deep videos. They're hilarious. I don't know, man. Like, you're gonna have to do your own research. Are they really that like worried that people will, I don't know, that people won't be able to tell the difference between what you really said and what the deepfake said, or like parodies already exist, and I mean, really
I really don't know what Facebook is trying to do. I kind of get it. Like Facebook thinks that Facebook is the way that most people are going to try and sway the election. But I'm sorry, Mark Zuckerberg. A majority of your users have left the platform. It's not going to be the battle for the 2020 election. Most likely, you're going to see it on Snapchat, Twitter, and Instagram. Sorry, bro, you missed the boat.
Yeah, and even then, nobody is going to vote for Joe Biden. Knock it off. No matter what you control, no matter how many times the news says it, no matter what post you make with the new poll numbers on it, no matter which CNN Wolf Blitzer guy you have come out and say it, right? Nobody is voting for Joe Biden, right? So you can see that they're trying to control to move people to certain candidates that nobody has any interest in.
Yeah. I myself think that Google and YouTube might be one of the most powerful tools they will actually use.
Yeah, they might use Google Ads in.
Is probably is definitely up there, but Facebook is trash.
Yeah, I was going to say that most of these campaign backers and these campaigns are not most political candidates are not going to be dumping their money into Facebook. Now, will there be some people? Of course, there's always going to be somebody who's going to be dumping it in every place. But I'm saying the majority of users have moved off the platform.
And just working with the campaign, I will tell this, like the one benefit that we have being on social media is all of these guys, including Bernie, are still using these 1980s, 1990s go-go advertising companies, right, and advertising execs to run their campaigns. And nobody's buying it anymore. So like the video that you used to get with some inspirational music and you walking down the street, shaking hands and holding babies, right, and all of that crap, like nobody's buying that anymore, right? We post videos of your record, of you speaking in Congress, right? So it is both disconcerting that they're all still, using that kind of like last generation's platform, and expecting that to still work. But it does give me hope, and that all of the people that are out there, Anonymous Bites Back, Nico House, like the stuff that we're doing, like that seems to be way more popular and getting way more like weight than what they've been doing, than the old school advertising. Not just old school, it's just like the car salesman, like I said, weekend sales event advertising, ads on your Facebook, like mindset. That's over. Nobody believes that crap. I certainly don't. You guys buying any of that shit?
I don't believe anything a politician says.
You're talking, lying. Yeah.
Well, they're talking about like tying in your camera. They can check your facial expression and see if you're sad. And I guess they just automatically send you,
the amount of
depressants
and face palms while watching what's going on in politics.
They'll just automatically get you a prescription and send it to you, even though you didn't ask for it.
Yeah, for Prozac or whatever. Maybe some opioids.
And then they'll be reminding you to take, because they're your, Uncle Sam is now your nanny, and he needs to stay on your ass to make sure you're doing what you're supposed to.
Yeah, I think if, they ask you on your social media, how do you feel about money in politics? And if you say anything negative, they immediately have you medicated.
Yes, he's got government. What was it called? Damn it. He's got government aversion syndrome. He doesn't believe us.
GAV.
He's one of them.
Or GAS. I've got gas. I've got gas. That does explain it. That's the face that I'll make. The face that I make for really, really bad indigestion when I've got really bad gas is about the same face I make every time I read something that our government does.
If you grab your nuts and you say "fuck you," oh man. Ooh.
What do we got on here? Are we gonna go over? I don't want to like stray too far. Try to get like the technology stuff done. I know we need to talk about South Africa. Do you guys want to go over the anti-vaping stuff?
Yeah. So there's I've been saying this for last week. This anti-vaping propaganda has been getting more apparent. They keep on saying that vaping is causing people to blow holes in people's fucking lungs, causing the lungs to collapse. This is something that's most likely related to a specific vape juice. Somebody's probably using diacetylpropylene glycol, which was banned back in the early 2000s. It was deemed not safe on the lungs, and also there are underlying medical conditions that can cause the same thing. When people say, well, there is no real amount of safe gas, besides the gases that we have, that we breathe every day into your lungs. But I don't believe this is related to vaping under normal circumstances. In fact, there are about 50 underlying medical conditions that can cause the problems that they're describing. And I do think that a majority of these cases where their lungs are exploding or their lungs are collapsing, that these guys are not vaping under any normal circumstances. I almost guarantee you that these guys are using some sort of drip system, or they're blowing out huge clouds, as we would call them, in the vape world, like he's vaping it out like he's a dragon. You know what I'm saying? I do know that a lot of these anti-vaping campaigns are sponsored by tobacco companies, and there is these hate relationship going on with the vape company versus tobacco, but unfortunately tobacco companies have more lobbyists, so the narrative is that vaping is dangerous and you should probably go back and smoke cigarettes. That's kind of where it's leading. I know it's kind of weird, but that's where these weird arguments are going towards, when we all know, deep down that
what's really going on is you've probably stepped up your drug intake to a level that's dangerous.
Yeah.
And you're either going to have to go to the next level and start shooting your drugs intravenously, or you're going to have to back off to some normal level,
I do see there's the tobacco industry is trying hard to stop people from switching to electric cigarettes.
Oh yeah, they're also saying some weird shit like tobacco causes vaping, nicotine causes seizures, and I've known this for a while. I've known that nicotine can cause seizures since I was 13. Long story short, my friend wanted to get high off of tobacco when I was a kid. So I said, well, if you're going to get high off of tobacco, you should make an extract, right? So what we did is we got...
Good ideas, man.
No, yeah, this is a bad idea, right? So I got like 4 bags of chew, right? And I put it inside of a 2-liter bottle, and I let it sit with some hot water for about like 4 or 5 hours. Then we strained it through a coffee filter, and then let all the water go in there. And then we boiled down the water till it was about a shot. He drank it, and he had a fucking seizure, and like he was like sweating everywhere and throwing up. And I was like, that's like nicotine poisoning. I didn't know exactly what that was, but when they say that these kids are having seizures, I mean, it's because they have too much nicotine in their system. That's it. Because you can do this from normal tobacco.
It's friggin' toxic. I mean,
Yeah.
like, even water is toxic, man. You can't just drink water all, to any level that you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, you eventually so much. I mean, it is interesting that, like, where were any of these guys with, like, actual cigarettes? You know what I mean? Like, wow, they're still fighting to prove that they still won't admit that tobacco, that cigarettes cause cancer, and yet one person, like a vape pen, explodes in their face, and they are all over it, national news.
Well, no, that's a deflection thing. See, if you concentrate on that, it gets it off their bigger business, which is the smokes.
Yeah. Yeah. Smoking is going down. I think it's a good thing. I mean, a lot of places are gonna, eventually make them illegal. I think that's probably just gonna cause like a cigarette underground there for a little bit. But yeah, they like it's going out of fashion, man. Just people aren't doing it anymore.
Well, it's also this weird game they play. Look at California. It's like first weed's legal. You can smoke it anywhere, do whatever the hell you want. Now all of a sudden, it's like they want to tell you, you gotta buy it in certain shops, not just everybody. And then you just can't smoke it anywhere now. It's all this nanny behavior. It's like, Jesus, it's always changing the rules. Like we got to keep changing it up to keep you slaves on your toes.
Hold your hand. Everything what you can and can't put into your body.
Well, they legalized mushrooms, so.
Colorado, right?
No. They did in Oakland too.
All right.
They legalized what?
Legalized mushrooms. Decriminalized it.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw a picture of a guy that was arrested somewhere where it wasn't decriminalized, and I guess he was tripping on mushrooms, and it's for the best police photo or like intake photo ever.
Is it some guy swimming on the asphalt?
Oh no, he like eating grin on his face, like he is having a blast. Poor guy.
He's like, dude, do you see that cartoon? There's no cartoon, bro. Yes, there is. Guys melting into the other one on the wall.
Oh, there's a comic book. Yeah, he is having a good time. When he comes down, though, it's gonna suck. Like you can see it, man. When he comes out and finds out that this was not a trip, that he really is in jail, that's gonna suck.
He's like, dude, this is gonna so be cool when I come down. I'll wake up, I'll be in my bed. None of this will be real.
No, but McGruff said I could get out in the morning. No, he didn't. And you've also got a restraining order against our police dog.
Oh god.
Yeah, it is their reaction to that compared to, like I said, it's hard. You can't get a Philip Morris exec to admit that cigarettes cause cancer now. Wow, right away. I mean, it is everywhere. And the media was a huge part of keeping like cigarettes cause cancer like subdued. You know what I mean? Down, like keeping that from being common knowledge. And now they are just all over the vapes for the tobacco companies again. God, you guys are just a bunch of fucking puppets, aren't you?
I remember because I was hanging around with the people that were kind of the pioneers of vaping a long time ago. I remember blue cigarettes back in 2007. Way before anybody knew what the fuck any of this shit was. And when people were vaping, in the early days of vaping, there really wasn't anybody saying anything, and it was very apparent that there was a big shift going on. And I didn't see anybody complain about vaping up until the last 3 or 4 years.
Once they started these lobbying campaigns, and that's the thing, like you can go and look up, who's paying for what.
Because vaping has been around. If 07 is when I noticed it, and they already had an established product, blue cigarettes. I would say 04 might have been right around the origin. So that's what 10 years.
You couldn't buy. Yeah, it's more than 10 years. You couldn't buy them over the counter, but I used to order mine.
Yeah, you had to order them. That was right. Yeah. That's right. You're right. They had an infomercial too. You had to order from them.
Well, because like I said, I struggled with quitting smoking cigarettes for years, man. Like it was rough.
I remember, those infomercials at late at night. It's be like, you can blow out pure water vapor. It's harmless to the lungs.
Yeah, there was this Italian. It was like a restaurant. And like, yeah, she was like, it was the first time I saw them, and like I was going out to smoke a cigarette, and she was smoking one of those. I was like, oh, what is that? And it like glowed and all of that stuff. And she like explained to me it was a electric cigarette, and you didn't get all the the toxins and all of that stuff. So yeah, I got the information from it. Started ordering them. It's super cool. We like city a little bit together the rest of the day. It was awesome.
I don't know. I can attribute vaping to getting me off of tobacco altogether and nicotine. So it does serve a purpose. It really does. I was addicted to cigarettes. I was smoking about a pack and a half a day. Then I went to nicotine gum, got addicted to the gum, couldn't stop, went on vaping, went off and on smoking and vaping, and then I went on strictly on vaping. Then one day I just decided I had enough, and I quit. And it was much easier for me to get off of the vape than it was off of any other product.
Well, the cigarettes are like specifically designed, like there's all sorts of extra stuff in them to make them like extra addictive.
Oh yeah, I agree with that for sure. Yeah, it was easy. It was very easy because I knew how much nicotine I was getting delivered, and once I stepped down my nicotine intake where I could measure it, it was like once I went from vaping 3 times a day, I just quit altogether.
Yeah, it became, well, for me, it's like a lot of times if we're out and like I'm playing the guitar, we're barbecuing or something like that, a lot of the people I know still smoke, and just to keep from getting back train, I use my vape pen. Yeah, but it's one of those things like the science isn't all the way up. Anything other than air that you put in your lungs is bad for you. But it's one of those things. Do vape pens cause cancer? Maybe, right? Do cigarettes cause cancer? 100%. Yes, they do.
Yeah, because I have family members who are doctors, and they have told me all the same thing: is that nicotine itself is not the chemical nicotine in itself, or not nicotine hydrochloride, does not cause cancer. It's very addictive, but it does not cause cancer. In fact, it's a vasoconstrictor and acts on the brain similar to cocaine.
Yeah, I believe that. And even like some of the things you're mentioning, it can cause palpitations, all of that other similar to cocaine as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's similar. It acts on the brain similar, but it's not the same.
No. But there is similarities to how the body reacts to it. Crazy.
Yeah, but in a tobacco plant, there are natural carcinogens that cause cancer, and they've been known to cause cancer. And without any extra additives, tobacco inherently, if you rub it into the mucosa membrane or you smoke it will, not to everybody, because some people have superior genetics, but they are known to cause cancer.
Yeah, there's no doubt that tobacco of any kind causes cancer. Yeah, I mean, I don't even think it's up to debate anymore, to be honest. But yet, go and try to get a tobacco executive to it. Impossible.
Yeah. Oh well. What else do we have going on?
A lot. South Africa, guys.
Yeah, so the South African protests today were against violent attacks on women and children. And there's a trend that's going on right now. I think I might have mentioned it on the beginning of the show. I'm seeing protests large protests all around the world. This is not something that's just going on, in places that we're talking about. Every continent, we're seeing large protests. Algeria, Russia, Papua New Guinea, South Africa, United States, France, Hong Kong, Algeria, Sudan. Yeah, Belgium too. What else is going? Belgium's always off and on. Something's popping.
Did you say
what-
Moscow? There's democracy. There's democracy
Yeah,
protests.
Russia. Yeah. I was surprised. Papua New Guinea. They tried to burn down the capital a few days ago. Against it was against racial injustice.
And then the government shut off the internet for a week.
Yeah, Kashmir, people are protesting. India, you name it. There are people. This is society's last stand for rights against big governments. Now, not all of these protests around the world are revolving around the people versus the government, such as the South African one. Yes, I understand that, but a majority of them are.
Well, and the tactics used against them are the same, right? So I mean, that's the thing to look at. The people that are being that are protesting, they're being hit with the same tactics all over the world. If you looked anywhere hard up, if you didn't see the protesters to figure out where it was going on, where the protest was happening at.
Yeah. This is also that's another thing. The information on these protests are becoming more and more buried. You literally have to dig for them. I find them because I'm more interconnected to people on activist lines or places that I would look for it. But never underestimate the treasure trove of digging on social media on what's going on. But Britain, Sudan, France, South Africa, Puerto Rico, Algeria.
You name and there is a protest going on right now, and most of them are about freedom, about civil rights. Really the world over. You're hard up to look at a protest and not side with the protesters.
Yeah. Oh wait. 25 minutes ago. Hold on.
Are we still live?
What? I don't know. Yeah. I'm trying to see what's going on in Hong Kong. Wow, this is somehow got absolutely zero coverage. There was another human chain. Oh, yeah, another human chain in Hong Kong last night. Okay.
I think we posted one of them. It was like 20 miles long.
Yeah, it was incredible to see.
We did like a time lapse, and it just went on forever. It's just amazing to see that kind of solidarity.
The thing is, I think if people see other people protest in other locations, that they actually get some hope and that they are also starting protests. So it might be something that cannot be stopped anymore now. But.
Yeah, I think each one of these people are learning, we can do it, can stand up. It just I guess like everybody,
it's too fast for me.
Do it now.
Yesterday. Rise up while we still can.
Yeah.
But it is going on all over.
What is this? Hold on. What? 600,000 GPS trackers for people and pets are using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as the password.
Oh, I believe that. Come on, how many open IP cameras are there?
No, this is for GPS trackers for animals.
Yeah, I believe it. I mean, whatever. I mean, that doesn't seem like really mind blowing. It seems like yeah, that sounds right.
Here's the default passwords. Yeah, T58, A9, T8S, T28, TQ.
Maybe
Wow.
sometime like live will track some puppies across.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if that's what you want to do with, when you're hacking stuff, I got into a GPS chip within a dog's collar.
That's not. They got to start somewhere, right?
Well, don't underestimate it. What if it is like a chip used for like a dog or whatever? They can pretty much track people with that too.
Yeah, that's true.
Add a certain kind of dog and a certain kind of that could be really useful. Like you couldn't track the person, but I can track their fluffy dog.
Yeah, because you know that they will be walking that actual dog.
Like it's in their pocket or their purse or on their backpack or whatever. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. We'll do a.
With cats, it's different, but you can actually just select all the dogs.
You're like, yeah, why is that? Why is this one chip running around in circles?
What if you actually combine it then with like the street cameras and stuff? It's really Orwellian.
Just
you can confirm.
That's fucked up. Yeah, just use the open IP cameras, the open GPS password. Boom. You don't need facial recognition. It'll find you anywhere.
Yeah, like you see like the little dot popping up on the map, and you can just zoom into like the closest HD camera.
Yeah,
that's how I would do it.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's probably what they do. I mean, but they like everyone already walks around with trackers, like the mobile phones and stuff. So yeah.
You've got your phone on you. It's not even. It's beyond easy. You can download an app to track people.
Yeah.
Trump's Middle East negotiator leaving?
Yeah, that was hilarious. Yeah, he just up and left. Resigned.
Couldn't take it.
I didn't even know we had one. I mean, what was he doing?
No, he just
I'm
left.
sure he was selling weapons. I mean, we always do that.
Well, I think he probably figured he can do that easier from the civilian world, right? From the private sector. Like, there's only so many you can sell over the table, and the profit margin is better.
What was the big deal going on?
I don't know. There probably wasn't. This is like a habit, that a lot of people have done when it comes to Trump. Sarah Huckabee left. Everybody knows that if they stay on the Trump train and Trump loses, they're not going to have a career back in politics. So I believe this is a trend for them to save their future political career in the future. Because
they can have a career over at Fox or one of the channels, probably get paid a whole lot more too.
Yeah, Sarah Huckabee, yeah, she started working for Fox.
Yeah, which has to be, I mean, at least it pays better than whatever she was doing than I don't know if that's a job. That had to be something you liked doing, right?
Well, I mean, come on. If Fox will hire Donna Brazil, they'll take anybody. You got McCabe. McCabe's going over to CNN. He's a proven liar, so he's good over there.
Hiring a Donna Brazil doesn't make sense, but there it is. Like, I think they probably lost viewers. I mean, like, yeah, she was. I guess she helped. Lose the election, side, but it's not like she wasn't trying to get Hillary Clinton elected. You know what I mean?
Oh, there's police and protests going on right now in Chile too. So, yeah, it's going everywhere. Yeah.
you could find any country right now and type in protest, and there's people trying to stand up for our future. Yeah. Probably spend the last part here going through some of that as well. I'm not exactly sure how to go about this either, because we don't really do fundraising or any of that stuff in here on the show, but we are sending solar generators to the Bahamas, like ASAP. We got a plane at the end of the week to get them there. So anybody interested in that, contact the page or admin, and we'll make sure that that your contribution or your support definitely gets to the people that so desperately need it. But it's pretty bad, guys. Like, some of these places, it's like 70% of the island. There's no going back on. So we do have like a refugee center where the chefs and the medical staff. So that's where we're sending the solar gen.
Oh, you're pretty muffled, Terrence.
Sorry, guys. I'm not sure. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that's we're sending them to the hospital and one of the refugee centers. Yeah, that's it. The gas generators are great, but they, it's impossible to get fuel to them and distribute fuel. It's a nightmare. So I mean, they run until they're out of gas, and then they're worthless to us. Where the solar generators give us a real edge. They're what everyone is desperately asking us for. So we are organizing that and emergency supplies out to the East Coast, to the Carolinas. So like I said, anybody that would like to support that through donations or networking, if you've got connections for wind and solar or any of that stuff, please get a hold of us, and we'll make sure that it gets to the people that need it most. And like, guys, I don't know how to deal with the we don't do fundraising on here. We're not into money or any of that, but we got to buy solar generators to send them, and they cost about the same as a normal generator. So you're looking at about $1,000 a pop for something that'll do some good. That was it. I don't know how to, do you guys want to talk about climate change? Does one of our listeners not believe in climate change?
I don't know. Let me see if I have anything left to talk about.
We have another thing that has to do with climate change. Yeah, that is.
Okay.
Well, just these, you can't get distracted. All right. Hurricanes are a natural event, right? That is one completely different issue. These hurricanes and constant storms and weather events are not natural, right? That's why you're getting, a 1,000-year storm every 2 months. This storm, hit the Bahamas as a Category 5, not because it was a Category 5, but because that's as high as the scale goes up. Right?
Oh, that's right. It does only go to 5.
Yeah, it would be, it would easily be, you're looking at it off the charts, 7, miles an hour, wind speeds that you would, if somebody told you that there was a storm that could hit with those kind of speeds, you'd call them a liar 10 years ago. Right? When you look at Katrina, right, compared to these storms, as devastating as Katrina was, not even close. Right? Like, they're getting worse and worse and worse. That's one problem. On the other side of it, we have to come together and help each other when we desperately need it. Right? We can't rely on nonprofits because they do nothing but line their own pockets, buy mansions and yachts and helicopters and suits and go to conventions, right? They never end up helping any of the people that people are donating and giving and hoping to help. So we have to do like this 2-part thing. We got to end this climate nightmare, guys. We get away from fossil fuel. That's just the way it is, right? And on the other side, while these disasters are going on,
We have to have people that we can trust. We have to have people that are going to actually get supplies and aid to the people that need it so they can rebuild their lives. So yeah, that's really, we can go on to, the warmer oceans make bigger storms. That's just the way that it is. We're making those oceans warmer, no doubt. Not to mention, last week we exposed, in high def, the turtle sickness that's affecting ocean life all over the planet, and that comes from the petrochemicals, from the things that we're spraying on our fields, washing in water and getting the algae. So we've got, we went in and found some green sea turtles. We got to, swim up with them and show them coming onto the beach. And then you would see that they would, turn to the side, or you'd see another one come up, and it would just be covered in giant cancerous sores. Some of them so big that they couldn't even eat, right? Like it's just a nightmare, and we're causing this nightmare. So I mean, we're stopping it, right? While we're fucking putting the brakes on this nightmare, right? We're also helping our brothers and sisters that need it, that are affected by it. And a lot of times, the people that are affected by it the most are the people that have the least.
Yeah, so that is one part that is always like not covered enough, and that is that the actual dirt we're spreading, like the microplastics and like other waste materials. That is also like, we're not just dealing with like global warming and that stuff, but we're dealing with actual spreading of like toxic materials and around the planet right now. That is
It's a long list, where we're literally, we're dumping, chemicals into the water. We're dumping pesticides into the water. We're dumping trash into the water. We're using, fossil fuels. Like we're steady feeding this fire, and it's not just the climate range, rising, but then, the waters, you can't drink the water as well. Lands radioactive, the seas radioactive. All of these things are building to a environmental collapse that nobody wants. Right, and no matter what profit you put on it, nothing is worth nothing.
Yeah,
but it's because we're facing, all of these things. Oh my God, they wanted what Trump wanted to nuke the hurricane.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's like,
Could you imagine if that were, if we let him do that, if some let that go, now we would have a radioactive category 5 kicking up the West Coast or the East Coast. It's unimaginable. Like, it's like they're trying to. Are you trying to get apocalypse? Because that's how you get apocalypse.
Yeah. So I saw this documentary a few months ago, and it actually it showed that like even all the bottled water, like with all the different brands of bottled water now, that these bottles of water actually contain microplastics too now. Like you're drinking like bottled water because you think like, yeah, this is healthier, like I'm being like a health freak, and I'm drinking like clean water. Every single brand contains microplastics. Every single one.
Yeah, and I mean that's not the
Canadian program.
Your water should have nothing but water in it. But again,
exactly.
It's like everything that oil touches, right, turns to death. It is death, right? Like condensed, liquefied, pressurized, boiled death. And anything that it comes in contact with brings that little bit, on like a spiritual level, brings that little bit of death with it. That's why Mother Earth kept it locked up in the middle of the earth where it belonged.
Oh, I guess that's one way of looking at it. I always looked at it as like dinosaurs were dying so that I could step on the accelerator a little more and enjoy the acceleration.
Oh no, I dig it, and I used to be a huge like car nut. I drive a big ass truck, but fuck, I'm so much faster if we're doing it by electric. I can't wait. As soon as I can buy an electric truck, I'm in. GMC, you can send it to me, guys. You can give me.
Yeah, well, as long as this actual lithium used is then domestic, because they actually conquered Afghanistan for $3 trillion in lithium. So I hope it's not coming from these mountains.
No, and the people that they slave out for cobalt.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean that is we went to a town in Africa and you drove down the street and you saw no old people. None. None. Not a single one because nobody lived over the age of 30. Nobody. And 30 was an old man. You know, you'd meet a guy that was a decade younger than that looked 30 years older than you. And they couldn't like they'd be executed if they left. They were worked until they died. And I mean that all of that COBOL was going to Apple, was going to was going to Samsung, was going to all of our phones and all of that TVs and shit. Yeah, fuck. Seems like we are hell bent on screwing each other over. Enough. So yeah, I just wanted to, like I said, we don't do the, but for this, like this job specifically, for this, for this office specifically, we do kind of need to come together a little bit. If people are interested, if they're not, they're not. I think we did a fundraiser yesterday, and I think we raised about $2,000, which is enough for us to get about 3 systems and send them down there. We'd like to turn that, into to 10 systems and get them to all of the refugee centers so that they have access to free, clean, renewable power. We are in contact with the Water Rescue Foundation to send a couple water from air systems down there as well. Hopefully that'll be coming through in the next couple of days. But we've got to keep a few of them here. We've got a couple running in Flint, and a couple for the response to the East Coast as well. So like I said, anybody that's interested, if you want a couple of Bitcoins our way, we'll make sure that the aid gets to the actual people it's supposed to help. That we don't end up with the Clinton Fund in fucking Haiti. Yeah, nightmare. The People's Fund by Terrence Daniels. If you guys, if you want to put it in there, you can do that as well. But yeah, that was all I had, guys.
How do people find the People's Fund most quickly?
Yeah. So that's like if you just go to the GoFund by Terrence Daniels. If you type in Terrence Daniels, TerRence, in Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, fucking YouTube, right? I'm normally the first guy that pops up. If you type in Terrence Daniels, Captain Planet, I'm normally the first guy to pop up. This is the same thing that we did for Puerto Rico. We got, about 1,000 generators to Puerto Rico. We got them to a lot of people with disabilities and old folks' homes, hospitals, things like that. This is pretty much the exact same thing that we're doing here for the Bahamas, and that we're pretty much waiting for the storm to pass so that we know where to best respond to the East Coast at the moment. We're in kind of the same holding pattern that But for the Bahamas, we've actively got aid going down there right now. Yeah, that's it. Like I said, we don't do fundraising. Our goal is to get as many people to come together. I feel that if people see what we're doing and like what we're doing, the funding for it will come. But I'm not going to go down that train and you end up, oh, we need to keep the lights on. Oh, come buy our fucking T-shirt, coffee cup. I mean, fuck all that. If somebody donated $100 people need. No fucking games. You don't need to make anything off of it. You ain't got no expenses in helping.
Yeah, no, and I mean, like we like don't ask for money with like anonymous. We don't ask people to donate to like anonymous or whatever. But I mean, you can do like a People's Fund, and because you go out to actually help these people, and of course you can ask for people who also want to help with that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, I just never want money to muddle what we're doing here. And on top of it, there's so many evils and pressures and things that come along with money and fundraising, and we're so against all of that. I always want to be extremely careful. If people are, this might be the first time that they've seen it on here or something, that would be for them. But for everybody else, I think normally they know what we're doing, or can find out who we are. you look at the political environment, right? Every single one of these candidates has raised hundreds of millions of dollars now. And they're still raising money. For what? If your thing was, I want to be known, or you make sure that the people know about you and know your policies for $100 million, you know what? You know how much of, you could fix for $100 million? Can you, you would get just as much coverage actually spending that $100 million helping people than you are raising money for a political campaign for nationwide ads, right? If you were the candidate that came in and hired 1,000 plumbers to get to work in Flint right now, right? Your name would be on the cover of every paper, on the front of every magazine, on the cover of on the front page of every social media page. But instead they spend it on bullshit, and that's every single one of them. If you added them all together, it's $1 billion. Could you imagine if, and I'm just throwing it out, I'm throwing it out there because he's the candidate I support. Could you imagine if Bernie Sanders said, I'm going to take all of the money that we raised yesterday, right? $50 million, $100 million, what, right? And I'm going to get that to the Bahamas tomorrow. Make sure they've got solar power and clean now, right? Would you have to campaign at that point? Would you have to advertise anything at that point? Every one of them's got a bus. Bus is worth $2-3 million. Could you imagine the person that paid $3 million for school lunches to hold that up? They just took away funding for millions of kids, and could you imagine? Fuck it, I'll pay for it myself. Would you have to advertise at that point? So because of that, I'm always extremely wary with fundraising, with dealing with money, and just making sure that people know that every cent, every dollar, right, and sometimes more, right, if I can work it that we get an even fucking better deal, I definitely do, goes to supporting and helping our brothers and sisters around us that no one else is going to help. They're going to talk about it. They're going to make statements. They're going to get on the news, right? They're going to write books. But the one thing that you won't see them doing is actually helping people. And I want to put a fucking end to that. And I think Anonymous is like the only group that can do that. Because that runs like deep in me. You know what I mean? Like, fuck capitalism, fuck the system, fuck profit, fuck those guys. Right? And that's why I'm always extremely wary of posting our GoFundMe or even talking. I feel that people will see what we're doing and see that we're serious. And hopefully, be able to do some good in the world. I think, fuck, Cephalodollar Dollar and those jackasses, they got 3-5 jets, millions of dollars a piece. Imagine if they actually, and all of those places are now going to be hit with a hurricane. Imagine if Cephalodollar Dollar fucking sold his jets to help the communities in need. The churches in his community, but fuck, they never will, but yet they'll raise millions.
Yeah, well, I see, I always watch your Twitter and stuff, and I see you go out without any, out to help these people without any support. So I think people who want to help with that, just visit your Twitter then, Terrence Daniels, Captain Planet. And they can find out all about it.
It does, I do these things like without any support, but on the same note, I've got lots of support. It's not money support. Like, money's the one thing we don't have. But, you guys give huge amounts of support. You guys give platforms to people without a voice, right? I'm normally just the person that ends up standing there, when somebody says, why don't you do something, right? Or when we get, that there's a community that's been washed away and the government says they will not be able to get them, power or medicine. Right, we load up our drones and fly medicine.
Yeah, no, exactly. Our Discord chat is suddenly so active.
Crazy.
I've been putting memes in there just because I don't know, I'm in a weird mood. I was making fun of script kiddies in there.
Gotta start somewhere. They gotta start somewhere.
Yeah.
I had something funny like that too. So now I had something funny on YouTube with that. It was I was watching a live stream from something, and so there was a guy, and he kept trolling it. He kept on saying he was going to kill babies and stuff in that live chat. And there were these there were these Anons, right? There were Anons in the chat, and they were like threatening him. These Anons. It made me think about this picture you were posting. They kept on threatening, and there was nothing they could do. So I was like, well, let's see who this guy is, right? So I like did a reverse image search on his YouTube picture, and I literally found him in like 1 second. So I just had like stop wasting with like stop ruining this chat. I said to the guy, I called him by his first name, but then he immediately stopped. And he was going on all night, and these announcers like raging.
Oh, that normally does it. You know, when they're behind all of what they think is some sort of anonymity, and you're like, David, calm the fuck down, man.
Yeah. Dang about that picture you just posted. Yeah. People think they can do everything. Like that, he was really getting disturbing. He was like posting the most awful shit, and I don't know. Normally, I don't really care so much, but it's like this was actually like about the.
Because I can see that they've obviously got some sort of internal rage that they need to get out. Like I feel like I'm doing a little bit of a service. Like, yeah, go ahead, get it all out, so you don't beat your kids.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah, and on my page, I don't even extremely nasty. I normally don't censor people, just for the simple fact that a lot of times, although it seems bad, you'll post something that's extremely important, and it will be completely ignored, right? Something that you expect should take off like wildfire, like people need to know. We posted a video yesterday of literally us exposing them dumping chemicals and feces into the water in Flint, right? I mean, live stream fucking from the phone right there. Should have millions and millions, 350 million shares to be exact, right? Nothing. But if somebody gets on there and is a jackass, right, or a troll, then all of these people feel connected and answer it and comment in there and get into these crazy conversations, right? And that'll get thousands of shares. So I let them on there. Like, the best thing that can happen to a post is a troll gets on. Otherwise, nobody even gives a fuck. If they don't have somebody to argue with, they don't want to get on.
Oh, that's actually how our show grew pretty big too, because of all the trolls always attacking us.
Yeah, one of them. Remember, one of them. Yeah, they said they were gonna hack us for like a week, and then we went on the air and they hacked us. And then they got mad because they got mad at me because when they hacked me, I said that was a good hack, and they got mad because I was complimenting because it was a cool hack. And
yeah, that was awesome. Did you not see the anonymous sign? Why would I be upset? That was awesome.
I know they thought it would make us mad. I remember everybody in the back panel was kind of mad, but they were mad at my reaction because I thought it was cool.
Okay, like victory. Yeah, my dad, like a victory. Like we have to give them credits for it.
Like Burgundy, right? I'm not even mad. I'm kind of impressed.
Yeah, I don't think it was like a real hack. I think that they had some guy who stole our stream key and then used our stream key, and something else. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how they did it.
It was the stream key because I mean we do know how they did it and kind of why they did it, but my response is still the same. Nice work.
Yeah,
I also it's practice. I hope you use those skills for good as well.
Yeah. We used to have like everyone like on editor on the page, right? So everyone could just reach the stream key, so they could literally just share it with others.
That's before you got big time celebrities.
And now it's all secured. I mean, we shouldn't say that too fast. It's going to happen again.
Yeah, be cool. But I mean, if you do, it's still one of those things. I mean, my response is still the same. It takes a lot of work to do and some dedication. So you either got to really like us or you hate it.
Yeah, that's what I hate. Is that people think that hacking is like Mr. Robot. It's like instantaneously. I know guys, they will sit on a fucking hack for weeks, months, until they get something right.
Months of,
Wow.
months of trial and error, sometimes months of building a system exactly like the one you need to hack into, and then hacking it, VM, or for real.
Well, especially with these pre-built web apps, or if you have some unorthodox web page layout, not all of them are the same. They do have the same entry points, but if they're secure, unconventional exploits. But yeah, to say nothing in the hacking world works like Mr. Robot. It's literally like flying by the seat of your pants,
Yeah, the last time that you could really do those kind of instant hacks you see on TV, I would say is probably.
A lot of stuff changed in the last 5 years. 90% of websites now are mitigated. Almost everything is using HTTPS now instead of normal HTTP. Which really isn't that much more secure. It just means it's encrypted. But stuff that worked 5 years ago doesn't work now, and most of the SQL injection are replaced by other techniques now. So it's like.
Unless you're one of the big social media companies, and then they're using WordPress and SQL.
Well, WordPress is very easy to get into. They out of the box, everybody knows that if you type /admin and yada yada yada, you get into the admin panel. At one point, I knew there were 70,000 exploits for WordPress. It could be less now, but that's a lot of exploits.
Yeah, but it is mostly the plugins which are exploitable. So
it's one of those things, as soon as they close one group of exploits, they come out with new software, new plugins, new whatever, and that just opens up a whole group of exploit. So it's constantly moving.
I remember seeing after Op Icarus, I do remember seeing a lot of sites moving towards website mitigation. And that's becoming standard practice now,
Well, yeah. It's just the like you said, the things that you could get away with, 5 years ago, let alone 10 years ago, you can't do the same exploits anymore. But then you'll get a group or a institution or a corporation that refuses to upgrade, or it's too expensive, or has some huge flaw in it because they're still using the old technology, Windows XP.
Well, yeah, especially in third world countries, the websites are not necessarily upgrading at the rest of the world. Yes, you got stuff like that going on, but stuff that worked 5 years ago isn't going to work on today's a lot of today's stuff.
But like I said, the website might be completely and utterly secure, but one of the millions and millions of people that's still running XP or NP, right? And that's what ended up allowing us to access the system. Or there's plenty of reasons. Like I said, for every one patch that they close, for every one exploit that they stop, 5 more pop up. You can't really stop it. Like I said, it's just a constant game of cat and mouse.
Yeah, well, some techniques actually do become easier. Like brute forcing something becomes easier to actually do it, but the protection against it becomes better too. But it becomes easier because the computer speed is faster. The computers are stronger now, and more easier using cloud-based things too. You can test many more passwords to crack a password brute force than before.
Yeah, before we were, you'd get 100,000 passwords. Right now, you can get a trillion passwords at once. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Power is so much different.
So on that end, and then you have like we said before, like with the WordPress, you have the whole plugin thing, which is like kind of like Google Apps. Like anyone can submit a plugin to it. And it's not so much tested, all these plugins, and if you have like you use like the right keywords in your plugin, then many WordPress users, for example, will download you, will put your plugin into their WordPress installation, and you never know who made it. You never know if it's secure. So you have to, you have to go for. You have to like really understand what these actual plugins are, because you'll fuck yourself over with it.
Yeah, I think that a lot of like we all get into it, at some point.
Well, there are like hundreds of different web shop plugins for WordPress, for example, but there are only like a few like really secure, while others have like all kinds of weird exploits. They just make mistakes.
Well, and some of them they don't even, until the software is out there and a million people go to use it, you don't always even realize that there is, an exploit, or something that you just didn't think of. Well, I didn't realize that if you plug the USB in and out real quick, it gave me a second window to to break into the software and jailbreak it. Like didn't realize that when you made software.
Yeah. And sometimes something big arrives for Windows, right? You have like the Eternal Blue thing was like a big one. Suddenly pops up, everyone gets ransomware.
I don't know if you guys are seeing this come across the newsreels, but Robert Mugabe, Zimbabwe's first elected prime minister, died a couple of minutes ago.
No shit.
Yeah, he took over right after the revolution in Zimbabwe. They had been at war for quite a time. On the Patriotic Front, I think was the name of his group. But yeah, he just passed away. I think he was 90-something.
I don't know if we should say like rest in peace, but the guy he murdered many people too, right?
Yeah,
Like...
he definitely was not his hands were not clean of blood. That is for sure.
Yeah.
Was highly involved in some violent African nationalism movements. So yeah, definitely not a like I said, his hands are not clean. But he did pass away today. So there you have it.
Age 95.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so, but he was actually like an anti-colonialist, African nationalist. I guess that anti-colonialism is a good thing, of course. I mean, yeah.
Stalinist, like hardcore. So yeah, all I can say is it's breaking news. He's dead. Not quite the same. We lost one of the Koch brothers died earlier this week. Well, was it earlier this week? Last week. Last week.
I think everyone was partying that day. Like,
yeah, David Koch. That was definitely a win. I won't go too far into it, but yeah, definitely a win for humanity.
yeah, well, it doesn't even really matter what kind of like political opinion he has, but it matters a lot that his money could like literally buy politics.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
He did. He had money that could buy politics. He did, and did nothing good with it. The news agencies calling him a philanthropist is a fucking joke.
Yeah. But he wasn't even like hiding it. He was like openly doing it, and like saying it.
Oh yeah. I mean, as we fight climate change, like, at this point we have no choice. You know what I mean? Like, the Bahamas are 70% of this town is underwater. He was a big, one of the reasons that we are having discussion is because of him and propaganda campaign, buying our government, demanding that they don't talk about climate change, lie about it all. shit. Guy is a horrible, horrible person.
Yeah.
Was
The climate, like the anti-climate change movement, also has some issues that there are some always like the wrong people get involved with it again, and that these skeptics or whatever they will point towards these people and like discredit the entire movement with it. There's like always these weird people get involved with it, and I think it's on purpose.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, that's the deal. Like, one misstep and they will discredit an entire movement. But they are one constant misstep, and you're supposed to trust their entire organization. Makes no sense.
Yeah, I know, but I'm not sure we should do this, but so I was getting very angry because of the Amazon fires, right? The Amazon fires were extremely bad, and then I looked at that young girl who was is leading like the climate change, the anti-climate change movements, that Scandinavian lady.
Yeah.
And I saw them partying on some boat. I was thinking like, what the hell is going on? Like I was rating like, spend your time on this stuff. Like, don't go out partying on some boat. This is what's going on right now.
Yeah. Do you really have to do this?
Do you have to upload these pictures now of you partying? Like, it's not good timing because you got like a million followers.
Yeah, it's almost like it was like done intentionally to just discredit you all at once. And it's not.
Yeah, see, that's what I mean. Yeah.
I mean, you can't, but I mean, if you're supposed to be kicking ass, you need to be kicking ass. And they're all like, yeah. This also was the week of what Burning Man, so all the celebrities partying at Burning Man, spending millions and millions of dollars while their brothers and sisters starve. Awesome. Not a fan.
No, that's what I mean. Like, it's like they don't even seem to care about any of it. And some celebrities did. They spoke out. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's definitely
nice to see.
that do care, and I don't think like normally when you see them, you're not all that pissed off about, but yeah, there's so many that it just like a total waste. Like I can't figure out why exactly you're a celebrity again. Yeah, it's just I don't know. I think being anonymous were like at odds with celebrities to begin with in a lot of cases, just because it's being a celebrity is the opposite of being anonymous.
Yeah. So, and this reminds me again about I think it was Roger Waters from Pink Floyd. I think he was doing like a Defend Assange concert in the UK, and it was like a few days ago. And there was no media reported on it, no UK media, and the only media that literally reported on it was like some channel from India, someone from Cuba, and I think one more. I forgot about it, but like literally no media mentioned it.
Yeah, I remember at the protest, right, at the Mauna Kea protest. So Jason Momoa and The Rock both showed up there, right? Arguably, like two of the biggest like stars, action stars, whatever you want to say it. Normally, if they post a tweet about them working out, about them, drinking and throwing axes, right, doing anything, it is national news, right? It sounds like everywhere is talking about anything that they do. But then they show up to this protest and no news about it, right? Like it didn't even happen.
No, exactly.
Yeah, weird. Well, I mean, not weird. Completely, like, yeah, that is the world that we live in. But still, it's disconcerting. It makes me, like, angry, frustrated. They should be telling, like, the actual news, showing what's going on without all of this bias. And it's not like it's bias everywhere. It's just bias towards profit. Fuck, you guys love the rich. Like, there's literally never a time where you stand with the people.
Don't you have an affinity for all that plated gold and all the trimmings and big houses?
Nah, no.
That's not you. All right.
Yeah, no, it's not my thing really, I guess. Like, I don't want to have a house bigger than I can clean, so the smaller the better, really.
I hear you there.
Yeah, I think I'm more of like a houseboat kind of guy. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, like, fancy cars are cool, but you can rent them. You know, I guess you could have one. I don't know, how much is greedy, right? 1, 2, 5, 7, 10? Right? I don't know. But I don't think I give that much of a shit. Yeah, the tiny homes are cool. Yeah, things that a lot like opulence represent. I don't need to shit on a gold toilet. I'm shitting. I don't know what you're doing in there.
Well, mine's not gold for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be nice to say, you did it at least once.
I guess if I was over at somebody else's house that had a gold toilet, I'd shit in it. But I'd probably shit in the top part.
Yeah, it'd have to be because I don't know anytime soon I'm going to be able to afford a gold-plated toilet.
Yeah,
That's
I better shit on a gold toilet. I'm not doing anything good. So yeah, maybe I'd do it right before I fill it full of toilet paper and jiggle the handle.
Yeah, it was like really a gold toilet. Probably have to like shit next to it.
Oh no, this is the story that fucking blows my mind, right? So there is a gold toilet. There was one that was on display, that was made as a like joke against Donald Trump, right? And then they've got this gold toilet on display. The thing is, right? You spent millions of dollars to make a joke at Donald Trump's expense. You don't think you could have spent that $1 million on anything else? Like, you really want to get under his skin? Donate to the poor. They hate that. But I just thought it was fuck, man. Even your like the rich making, the rich and corrupt making jokes about the rich and corrupt was fucking disgusting.
Maybe you haven't learned how to be an arrogant ass yet.
Maybe I just didn't get the.
You haven't had enough time and enough money to become one yet. That's all it is.
You'll understand when you're rich. Yeah. Yeah, now that I'm rich, all of a sudden I care about tax. That's like what? We're like all of these horrible hurricanes. Isn't all of the rich and powerful's money like in the islands there? Don't they hide all their money in like in those banks? I wonder how much of that they're going to donate to the struggle. Wouldn't it be crazy if one of these like tax haven islands was just like, sorry, we just got hit by a storm. We had to nationalize all of your money.
Well, I mean, when you have 12 homes and plenty of money, I mean, that really wouldn't kill you. Like right now, you let that house just got trashed, so you just hop over somewhere else, and then, of course, you're going to get it fixed. It's going to take a while, but who gives a shit,
Oh no, you can. If it's a big enough house, you can. The government is going to fix it for you. Don't worry. Don't worry. It won't be any money out of your pocket. Damn, I think we actually. I was looking through here. I think we actually got all our list tonight. That never happens. We didn't talk Jacob Wall at all, but I don't know how important that really is.
I've only seen the name and a few things on him, but I really didn't really watched him or anything. I don't know.
He's a outspoken.
I was surprised his name popped up.
Yeah, he's like an outspoken white supremacist Nazi guy. I think he's in trouble for money issues, not anything real. I think, but I think it had to do with some stocks or something. I don't know. I didn't really.
He's conning people on some securities. That's what's really gotten him in trouble.
Yeah, he was kind of a piece of shit, but he was kind of like a weenie on top of it. Yeah, but I know he I think he wanted trouble, and then he was really he was daring them to fuck with him and arresting him. So yeah, I guess he got what he asked for. I don't know.
Well, when you're a criminal, you never know where the edge is. You just have to keep pushing. That's the whole criminal philosophy is,
See how you can.
eventually it hangs you, unless you're Hillary Clinton or, one of the elites, but
Oh, it won't hang her as you hung. Or it's just a suicide. Suicide. You notice how
boy,
she never posts about suicide prevention? Never.
I don't,
Never mentions it.
well, ever since they got into politics, that goes back to the 80s in Arkansas, man, or maybe a little bit earlier. There was just scandal after scandal. I mean, they started their shit early.
Oh no, they are just one long. I don't think they've ever anything that can turn out in the end. Like anything.
Yeah, I mean, if you were just to watch them for a few months, I mean, how much illegal activity would you actually see going on? It just seems like everything they do.
Because I don't think they get involved in it unless it's like that might be the first question that they ask you, like right off the bat. Like, oh, I'd like to, I'd like to see if you guys are interested in helping the less fortunate. Well, is it illegal? We don't get involved in shit that isn't illegal. Okay, that seemed a little bit too clean, right? So go back, make it a little bit more corrupt, and then see if the Clinton campaign will be.
Yeah, I don't think most average criminals are not used to their level of activity.
Shit, most mob bosses don't have that level of body count. Like,
Yeah, they'd be dragging you through court how many times, already.
We were just in going through, make a post. We were going through and looking through all the names of people that have died, or died under odd circumstances around the Clintons, and it is crazy. Like the amount of people that dead, missing, the suicide seems to be their go-to, right, method of whatever's going on. But holy crap, you run a good chance of ending up dead hanging out with them. I don't know why. I'm not even saying they had them all killed, but you got a good chance statistically of ending up dead dealing with the Clintons for one reason or another.
Yeah, no, they're consistent. It's like, if there's criminal activity going on, which there is, and you're a leaker about it, you are going to get suicided. I mean, that's what happens. You have an accident somewhere every time.
There's only really two ways to look at this. Either it's suicide or the most powerful voodoo priest put a fucking curse on them. Because those are really the only reasons why everybody around you randomly is dead. Bad deal. It's got to be both of them. I don't know how poor Bill has made it this far. After the Epstein thing, I thought for sure he was going to end up suicided. That whole, once the picture that we're always talking about, him in a dress got out, I thought for sure he was gonna end up suicided.
Yeah, there's another picture. You don't see it as much. It's a George Bush, Boy Bush painting. That's kind of strange too. You're just like, these guys. I mean, they're out there, man.
Something wrong with these people.
I mean, that's like art in your house. That's just weird.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not saying that Jeff Epstein and Clinton were close. I'm just saying your picture's on the fucking wall. That's normally a pretty good sign, and we're not talking like a small something that you could walk by. This is like a wall-sized fucking mural of you in a dress over the rape couch in the rape mansion. Fucked up. And we're supposed to. So they had no involvement. What? Sure, you didn't.
Nothing strange going on here.
Oh no, that's not odd. That's not weird. You know what I mean? I mean, doesn't everybody have frame pictures of themselves in their buddy's rape mansion? Is that not normal?
What?
No? Huh. Weird.
Well, yeah, when you interior decorate your dungeon, it needs to be done right. I mean, they are billionaires after all.
Yeah, and I think that's something that a lot of people overlook when you're looking at the Clinton picture in the dress in the rape mansion. That picture really tied the room together.
right? If it wasn't for that picture, it was just an empty room with a rape couch on it. You
What?
know what I'm saying? Like, there's a couch right below Clinton's picture, and that was where a lot of these girls were molested at. Underneath the picture of Bill Clinton. Groovy.
He is the Lord of the wet cigar. The great knight of the hard wood.
Oh no. No. Sorry, I can't.
He just wants you to admire the fine wood. Have a little class.
They all need to be in prison. The world we live in is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Well, I hope. Yeah, I mean, we'll post the list. Speaking of Epstein, and it's 10,000 names that are on this list, and some other information that was released today. I don't think it was actually leaked. The post that the email that I got about it says leaked, but I'll have to look and see if it was actually leaked. But that have the list of his contacts and everybody that we know was involved here. But yeah, I mean, I think we'll probably only get down that rabbit hole. You know the people involved. You know the rich and powerful that are involved. The next, the question is, are we ever going to actually do anything about it? And I'd say we'll probably do as much about it as we do about the molestation rings in the Catholic Church, which is almost nothing.
Oh yeah, everybody kind of forgot about that. That's right. I guess with all the other pedophilia going on,
Oh yeah, we just completely forgot about all child priests that they moved throughout the world to continue molesting children. Yeah, they totally blacked that out. We don't even talk about it anymore.
yeah. If you just thought it was your elite politicians and corporate folks and all that, I mean, you forgot it. It's your religion too. Damn. Yeah.
I would not be surprised if some of these rings are connected. If you see that, the way that these organizations and these religious groups were able to smuggle and transport, young children, molest young children, I guarantee you'll find connections between these people. Guarantee it. But yeah, right before Epstein, one of the big was being charged. But you notice that all got swept under the rug real quick. Moved on to the next.
Well, who was that? Weinstein in Hollywood. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I don't. Yeah, we'll see. We're still trying to get Corey Feldman on here. Hopefully, we get him on here. He's been real supportive of what we're doing in the Bahamas. I showed you guys the the tweet. But yeah, hopefully we get him on here too to give him like an actual platform to speak freely. I'd really like to get him on here because nobody else will let him actually speak freely. You know what I mean?
I think the last time he spoke freely, he was actually stabbed or something in his car.
Yeah. When he came out after giving an interview. The guy's been through a lot. And the times where, I mean, even when he has tried to speak out, the people that were interviewing him, even though they were in circle, in some of these dinners, trying to destroy him work. But yeah, he's a strong guy, man. I like him. There's a couple of people that I would love to get on here eventually, just so that they have like a real platform, which they've just never been given.
Well, I'm pretty sure they've never been on a platform where they can actually fully speak freely. I mean, we don't care if we get banned somewhere here.
Yeah,
We
no,
got like 29 more to go.
that's our street cred. Go ahead, ban us. Like
Yeah.
it's fine, man. That's that. If we're not getting banned, then we're not speaking the truth.
Well, it's an empty threat now anyway. It's like, what are you going to do? Ban us? Really?
Yeah, I'll open up another account called Anonymous Fights Back Band.
Seriously, I think after Alex Jones, because with him they did really bad. But after Alex Jones, I think we're like the most banned show. Seriously, we're like banned on. We're literally banned on Facebook.
We
a
might be
lot.
banned on Mixer. I don't know what the fuck is going on the back end. That is some bizarre shit. It's
We're
asking me.
banned on YouTube too. I mean, literally, we're banned. And we can't even stream on YouTube.
We have to be the most banned show. I mean, even if I post the YouTube link or if I post the Twitter link on Facebook, right, it shuts down the account.
I heard the same from other people. They try to like share our shows, and after like 2 shares, they either get locked out of their account or they get like they can't share anymore anything.
Well, and I mean, for the people that are doing that, like, do you feel like it's working? Because I feel like it's not working.
In fact, I feel like we're popular now than all of the times when you ban us. Every time you tell people that they cannot listen to something, they want to go listen to it. And with us, they're normally they're like happy that they found it. The amount of like messages that I get, that we get, that are all like, "Oh, I like what you guys are doing. I'm so glad we found you. I didn't realize that was you guys, right?" Like, it's not working. At least not with us. Maybe try someone. It seems to have shut Alex Jones up. It didn't slow us down at all.
No, not at all. Like, for us, it takes like less than a few days to like completely recover. We get like as many views as before.
Yeah, I mean, shit. And when we do open a new thing, this was banned on on social media, and people want to look at it. Why was it banned?
I don't know. I guess we're too controversial.
We have to get to the point where you can just like copy and paste another social platform and just copy and paste all your videos into it. It's like you bring it up faster and they can shut you down.
Oh yeah, by the time it's 10, 20 minutes, like we've been through it so many times. It doesn't even, when we talk about it, we laugh like, "Oh, we're banned again." Right?
YouTube was openly lying about it why they banned us. Like they literally said like they said like we had like a copyright complaint. And I literally showed them the screenshot. We don't have any complaint at all. We had like all 3 things green, and then they actually said like, "No, there shouldn't be a reason your account can't stream." And then after that, they didn't fix anything. They're like,
I don't think it was somebody. You complained. You complained that we were talking shit about it. That's what you're saying.
yeah.
But I don't think that
Kind of, the bad thing about it reminds me of like all the little nitpicking and stupid shit that goes on, like when you're at work in the work office environment, and it's just like, that's kind of like Facebook. There's just all this nitpicking and crap going on, and snitching on you to the boss and the fucking big boss. It just makes you want to punch them all in the face.
Yeah, there's always somebody that's upset. No matter what we post, there's always going to be someone that's mad. You can't make the people happy all the time.
Hey, well, and YouTube already got their warning. I mean, and it was a girl that did it to them, so they should know better.
Well, yeah, like I don't think a lot of this censorship back them in lawsuits, in rights violations. Some of it is a change of power as well. Like things are definitely changing. We got to get more of our people into places of leadership, but we're just now, the millennials in a lot of cases, and where they can take actual positions, actual elected positions. Or you just get, you're too young, you don't know what.
blah. Now we're starting to take over and change some shit. As I think every generation does. But I feel like we really are at a change, or at least a crossroad. Out of the fucked.
We did have a really good amount of viewers tonight, but always at the end it drops down to like 2. There's like the 2 remaining diehards still watching.
Well, I mean, it's a 4-hour show, and I think a lot of people, for some reason, watch our show when they're going to bed, and it gives them some sort of peace of mind that at least someone is still fighting for them. So I know a lot of people like bed when they're in bed. So our numbers go up, down. But yeah, it's a 4-hour show.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how to read that. It sounds like, are we putting them to sleep, or is it like?
That's what I asked too. And they were like, "No, I just feel better." Right? Like when I turned off when they turned off the their social media or the TV or whatever. They were super stressed out, and then they at least know that, like I said, somebody's out there for them.
Just jumped up to 5 viewers again on Periscope, so I don't know. They just come back again.
Welcome. They had to go to the bathroom. Totally acceptable.
I'm interested in that first reaction. It's like that first reaction when you see a picture of Hillary Clinton, you're about ready to throw up. It's like the first reaction somebody says, the ABB show.
Yeah.
With the facial recognition, I wonder if it's the same. I'm pretty sure the face I make when I see Hillary Clinton that I make when I've got bad gas, like a rumbling in the pit of my stomach.
I don't know. I'm only monitoring the Periscope views, but I know we're also like broadcasting on Twitch and stuff. We also get like good views there now.
Yeah, and I mean, watch it as time goes on. I think it's important to get it on the airwaves, to get it on the net, to get those ideas going. Once it's on there forever. So I mean, that's all part of it too. That as the week goes on, people watching it as well. I don't worry about it. If we got no viewers, right? My goal is to get as much truth onto the net as humanly possible. And I think that we're doing that every week. I think we even I kind of play that role of our like investigative journalist. Like that. I get to go in and go to crazy places and show people what's going on. But I love it. I love what we're doing. I really do.
9/11 is coming soon, and to do like some kind of special. On the same day, there's also like the big protest in Catalonia because that's like their national day. There's like 2 million people on the street.
Let's get a citizen's arrest of George Bush and Dick Cheney. Let's do it. Citizens arrest. Get them. 9/11. What a better time.
Yeah.
Now there is something. I don't know if it's 9/11 or not. There's some kind of militia event coming up in. It's just across the bridge from D.C. There in Virginia, and they're going to make their demands and redress a grievance and all. I'm not sure how far these guys are going to take it, but there is something going on up there.
Oh, we'll cover that too. I've always been real supportive of militias. I think that they've went the way that that they dismantle all rights. There was a real campaign to dismantle our militias, and I've said why I support that. Our country was never meant to have a standing army, because our founding fathers believed that we would oppress other countries with it if we did. That's why we had a well-regulated militia, so that if a war ever did come by and we had to defend our country, that those militias would come together and that would be our army. But I'm not a big supporter of the standing army thing we got going on now. I think we're gonna have to deal with it another way. But there was a concerted effort to dismantle our militias, and I'm not really happy with that. Especially when we've got like the whole Second Amendment argument up, and that the militias are uniquely constitutionally in a place to handle some of those. To make sure you're trained on your firearm, that our would really be in a great place to do that, but fuck, man, it's ignored. Ugh. So yeah, we'll cover that. I'd love to see the militias get out there and see what's up.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a whole lot on it, but there's something up in the. Of course, that's a long way for me. I don't northwest or northeast rather.
Yeah, the Northeast. What's going on with the Area 51 thing? Did that just blow over?
No, it's still going on. September 20th. Facebook has deleted it several times, but it keeps on going back. So.
Okay, yeah, a lot of questions about it. If it does go down, we'll go. It like I said, I haven't looked that much, and there was like a big hype about it and a pretty good propaganda campaign in response, and then I didn't really hear a lot of it.
No, I had a guy up in Nevada that he knows there and likes it down there. He was willing to go, but then he's kind of got some child issues, custody issues going on now, so I'm not sure where he's at. I need to double check again.
Well, yeah, I personally, the fact that we all know the name of Area 51 means that we don't keep anything cool there. I don't think we've kept anything cool there in probably 30 years, but would still be fun. Show a real moment of unity, and if there is any boys there, I'll snatch them up, no problem.
Well, yeah, either way, hey, if they got something neat, great. And if they don't, then you expose another fraud. It's like, okay, where's all the fucking money going that's supposedly going here?
Oh yes, see, that's what I think is really going to be exposed there, is that they've been funneling, trillions of dollars into Area 51, and it's just empty warehouses.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's really what we're gonna find out. But yeah, if there is any cool toys there, I will make sure that they get out to the public right away. Never know, could be something cool.
And how we're going to justify it is it's a we the people civilian audit. Since we've asked you for a regular audit, we've asked you for all your records. You don't want to give it to us, so we got to do it the hard way.
Yeah, do a civilian audit. I agree 100%, just to see where our taxpayer money's been spent.
Need to do this on the Fed,
Well,
and Fort Knox, and a couple other places too. Yeah.
Well, I know even Trump was kind of hitting around about an audit Fed, and yeah, he backed off of that quick.
Yeah, he's too busy pushing red flag laws now and trying to figure out how you can lose 2020.
Oh yeah, drawing what he hates, just Sharpie.
Let's just stick a knife right in the back of your base. That's good. That's a.
Yeah, I don't see him winning, but fuck, man, you never know. We could run Joe Biden. Only way he's.
Oh, guys, we only have like 1 minute.
Oh crap!
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the way he's winning this. Only way Trump's is if Joe Biden, no doubt. Thank you to all of our. I know. We only got a minute left. I know I gave it out before, but I do have supplies going out to hurricane victims. We've got solar generators going down to the Bahamas. Anybody interested in helping out with those projects, please get a hold of us. Donate to the People's Fund by Terrence Daniels at GoFundMe. Get a hold of us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, smoke signals, however you got to do it. Get a hold of us, and we will make sure that we get as much supply and help to people that need it the most as we can. So yeah, that's it.
Ooh, that was a great line there. Spay and neuter all politicians.
Yeah.
Good night, guys.
I talked for 4 hours to listen.
And